The villain in the book turns into the protagonist. As night fell and darkness completely enveloped the light, in the vast and quiet forest, Yi Qiu, covered in wounds and looking like a blooded figure, charged through the trees like a wild beast. Every now and then, he stepped on fallen branches, causing a crunching sound that startled the birds perched in the trees. Host, Yi Qiu's luck value is now below 50 points. You can kill him immediately. I know, he has escaped twice already. This time, even if he grows wings, he can't escape. The man said confidently. Host, remember you said the same thing last time. Heh, that's because you didn't explain it clearly. You insisted that Yi Qiu's luck value had to be reduced to 50 points or below before we could kill him. The man responded irritably. Host, you never asked me either. The system replied. The man fell silent. He didn't know how long he had been chasing Yi Qiu, only that Yi Qiu had finally stopped when he was exhausted. Looking at the breathless Yi Qiu, the man coldly said, "Can't run anymore, huh? It's time to send you on your way." With that, he casually slapped his hand towards Yi Qiu. Yi Qiu stared at the approaching slap, growing larger before his eyes, and a wave of desolation rose within him. He couldn't understand why such a prestigious figure, the saint son of the Taichu Holy Land, would repeatedly want to kill such a small fry like him. Fortunately, he didn't have to think about it anymore, as his soul was obliterated, and his presence was erased from the world. The man looked at the vanishing Yi Qiu and muttered to himself, "I know you want to know why, but didn't I also wonder the same?" The man's name was Wang Yang no, to be more precise, he was Shenwu Dao, the saint son of the Taichu Holy Land, the most prestigious of the four great holy lands of the Shenwu continent. Like many typical fantasy tropes, Shenwu Dao had transmigrated. In his past life, he was called Wang Yang, a man who was a do-gooder. After nearly drowning while trying to save a child, he fell unconscious and transmigrated. Originally, he thought he was the protagonist, but fate had played a cruel joke on him. His golden finger told him that he could only become a villain. In his past life, he had been a fan of fantasy novels, and whenever he thought about the tragic fates of most villainous characters, a shiver ran down his spine. So, from a young age, he trained tirelessly, hoping to someday fight those fated sons of luck. However, by a twist of fate, due to his remarkable talent, hard work, and the endless supply of heavenly materials, Shenwu Dao reached the peak of the Lingshu realm at the age of 20, earning the position of Saint Son of Taichu Holy Land and was hailed as a once-in-a-thousand-year genius. System notification: congratulations to their host for killing Yi Qiu and stealing 50 points of luck value. You have earned 400,000 villain points. Since this is your first time killing a fated son, a new player starter pack is being sent to you, which includes an ascension pill, a high-grade spirit beast egg, and a chaos saint body. Keep up the good work, host. The system's cold, mechanical voice jolted Shenwu Dao out of his reverie. After a moment of stunned silence, he curiously asked, "System, why are there so many villain points as a reward? And what exactly is the chaos saint body?" Host, Yi Qiu was a son of luck. If he had not died, he would have eventually become an extraordinary powerhouse. You've killed a future supreme being, which is why you've gained so many villain points. As for the Chaos Saint body, you can think of it as one of the most powerful physiques in the primordial universe. If you inherit it, in time, you can become an invincible powerhouse. Such a powerful physique. System, you really know how to treat me well. Shenwu Dao was stunned by the system's words. He eagerly opened the system panel. Host, Shenwu Dao. Age, 20. Status, Saint Son of Taichu Holy Land. Luck value, 140. Only the host and sons of luck display luck values. When a son of luck's value drops to 50, they can be hunted. Killing others does not grant luck value, but the higher the luck value, the more benefits it offers. Villain points, 400,000 can only be gained from killing sons of luck. Items. Advanced Earth rank fighting skills, Sky Covering Palm, Dominating Fist, Meteor Slaughter Sword Formation. Earth rank weapon, Clear Feather Sword. Advanced Earth rank body refining technique, Indestructible Body. Earth rank advanced movement technique, Shadow Transformation. Ascension pill can be used immediately. High-grade spirit beast egg currently hatching. Chaos Saint body can be inherited immediately. Just as Shenwu Dao was about to inherit the Chaos Saint body, his communication talisman suddenly flickered. When he opened it, a solemn voice came through, "Wu Dao, come to the Holy Land Hall." Then came a sweet, teasing voice, "Uge, don't be so serious, you'll scare my precious." Dower, darling, come to the Holy Land Hall when you have time. We have something to tell you. After hearing the message, Shen Wudao felt a warmth spread through his chest. The two voices were those of his parents Shen Yu and Liu Qinghe. Shen Wudao truly respected his adoptive parents, for they had waited 300 years to have him. They treated him like a treasure. Though Shen Yu was often serious with him, it was just a facade, and he actually cared for him deeply. Liu Qinghe, on the other hand, pampered Shen Wudao and never scolded or punished him. She was fiercely protective of him, and as she often said, "Everything I have is for my darling son." However, Liu Qinghe had one hobby: she was always trying to find a wife for Shen Wudao, which left him speechless. Chapter 2: Breaking off the engagement. A new sun of luck appears. Starlight poured into the boundless darkness, giving the Holy Land Hall in the night an inexplicable allure, drawing one's gaze and making it hard to resist approaching it. After entering the hall, Shen Wudao saw his long-awaited parents. Son greets father, greets mother. Shen Yu, with a stern and dignified expression, nodded. On the other side, Liu Qinghe eagerly took Shen Wudao's hand, looking him over with admiration. "My dear son, you've gotten even more handsome after these few days. You must take after me. If you looked like your father, I'm afraid only I would be able to look at you." She glanced at Shen Yu and asked, "Isn't he that right, Yu?" Seeing his wife's hopeful expression, Shen Yu could only helplessly nod. Shen Wudao smiled helplessly and said, "Mother is right, all of this handsome and charming appearance is thanks to your genetics, mother." Liu Qinghe chuckled and replied, "Oh, you're such a good child. I didn't love you in vain." However, Shen Wudao's inner thoughts were a bit complicated. After all, Shen Yu was once a charming and suave young master, renowned across the continent for his looks. With his noble birth, he had attracted countless young women. But since marrying Liu Qinghe, the number one beauty of the continent, his flirtatious days came to an end because he was afraid of his wife. "Father, mother, may I ask why you've summoned me so late?" Shen Wudao asked, puzzled, because his parents usually wouldn't call him at this hour. Shen Yu's face remained serious, his tone cold as he replied, "It's nothing major, just helping you break off your engagement with Wan. Liu Qinghe's expression changed instantly. "What do you mean, not a big deal? My son's fiancée is about to marry someone else, and you say it's nothing major?" After saying that, Liu Qinghe released Shen Wudao's hand and walked toward a girl standing quietly nearby, whom Shen Wudao hadn't even noticed. The girl was incredibly beautiful yet frail-looking, with an oval-shaped face, large, clear eyes, long, delicate eyebrows, and a small, straight nose. Her pale face carried a hint of sadness, making her seem like someone who needed protection. Liu Qinghe grabbed the girl's hand and walked up to Shen Wudao, saying, "Wan, why don't you explain the situation to your brother Wudao?" The girl looked at Shen Wudao, and upon seeing his warm, gentle smile, her nervousness seemed to ease a little. Taking a deep breath, she seemed to gather her resolve. With her soft lips slightly parting, she spoke her troubles. "Brother Wudao, you have to help me. I was promised in marriage when I was a child, but I've never even met the person. I've known you for 10 years now, and I know that I like you, Brother Wudao. I hope you can help me break off this engagement. Could you do that for me?" After speaking, she timidly glanced at Shen Wudao, her worry evident in her eyes. Shen Wudao was stunned for a moment. Zhao Wan had been sent to Taichu Holy Land to cultivate from a young age, and since they were of similar age, they had trained and played together often. He had grown fond of this gentle, frail girl who made him feel protective. Zhao Wan wasn't very talented in cultivation, only reaching the early stages of the pill-opening realm after many years of practice. However, she was exceptional at alchemy. Despite her delicate appearance, her skill in making pills was no joke, and at a young age, she had already become a fourth-tier alchemist. Shen Wudao had often seen her covered in black soot after leaving the alchemy room, only to grin at him with her black face and greet him cheerfully, "Hello, Brother Wudao." After hearing Zhao Wan's request, Shen Wudao's gaze softened as he looked at the girl before him. "Don't worry, Wan. Brother Wudao likes you too. You belong to me, and no one can take you away from me. It's just a matter of breaking off the engagement. I'll handle it for you." Upon hearing that her brother Wudao had agreed without hesitation, Zhao Wan's eyes lit up. Her clear, bright eyes were filled with excitement, admiration, and adoration. Liu Qinghe, standing by, was also overjoyed. She nudged Shen Yu beside her, Uge, what did I tell you? Our son likes the fiancée I arranged for him. She then beamed at Shen Wudao and Zhao Wan. You two take your time to talk. We'll leave you alone. Once Shen Yu and Liu Qinghe left, the vast hall was left with just Zhao Wan and Shen Wudao. Looking at Zhao Wan, who was practically daydreaming, Shen Wudao gently pinched her cheek and affectionately asked, Wan, tell me, who do you need to break off your engagement with? At his tender gesture, Zhao Wan's fair face flushed bright red. Her voice, as sweet as a warbler's, slowly narrated, it's with Yi Chen, from the Yi family, one of the three major families in Tianyan City, Tianyan Kingdom, within the Great Chu dynasty. His grandfather saved my grandfather's life, and that's how the engagement was arranged. But I wasn't even born at the time. System notification, a new son of luck has appeared, Yi Chen from the Yi family in Tianyan City, Tianyan Kingdom. Please, host, investigate the son of luck's details. Reward, 3,000 villain points. The sudden system prompt caused Shen Wudao's mind to stir. He immediately thought of Zhao Wan's words and recalled the typical waste to hero trope, with the gold ring wearing old grandpa. Don't worry, Wan, I'll accompany you to break off the engagement whenever you're ready. After all, you're my future wife. Shen Wudao smiled and gently pinched Zhao Wan's cheek again. Hearing Shen Wudao's words, Zhao Wan's face turned even redder. Like a startled rabbit, she rushed out of the hall, calling back, we'll go to break off the engagement in 7 days. I'll come find you, brother Wudao. As Zhao Wan ran out of the hall, she couldn't help but think about what Shen Wudao had said about her being his future wife. She pressed both hands against her flushed cheeks and muttered to herself, Brother Wudao, you really said something like that, and then broke into a silly smile. Watching Zhao Wan dash away, her face flushed with embarrassment, Shen Wudao shook his head helplessly. This girl, still shy. He sighed and then his expression turned serious. Yi Chen, huh? Here, my prey has arrived. Chapter 3, Strength Enhancement, The Truth About Yi Chen. After returning to the Saint Sun Peak in the dead of night, Shen Wudao summoned his confidant, Zhao Yi. Zhao Yi had been sent by his grandfather and had protected Shen Wudao since he was 6 years old. He had always been loyal to him. In terms of talent, Zhao Yi was no slouch either. In just 200 years, he had reached the peak of the Void Realm. It's important to note that cultivation was relatively fast in the first 3 stages, but once one reached the Spirit Void Realm, every level could take years, even decades, or centuries to progress. The later stages were always harder to break through. Of course, this didn't apply to a prodigy like Shen Wudao, who had reached the peak of the Spirit Void Realm at just 20 years old. Master, is there anything you need? Zhao Yi asked respectfully. Help me investigate someone, Shen Wudao instructed. Yi Chen, from the Yi family, one of the 3 major families in Tianyan City, Tianyan Kingdom, under the Great Chu dynasty. The more detailed, the better. Report back to me tomorrow morning. Understood, Master. Zhao Yi left promptly. Shen Wudao watched him leave with satisfaction. He had full confidence in Zhao Yi's efficiency. Gazing around the empty Saint Sun's hall, Shen Wudao fell into deep thought, muttering to himself, Yi Chen. Yi Chen. How should I deal with you? Suddenly, his eyes lit up, and he spoke with a hint of amusement. What if I turn your golden finger against you and take it for myself? That would be interesting. However, before that, I should improve my own strength. Shen Wudao murmured to himself. System, inherit the Chaos Saint body. Host, the inheritance process will cause you great pain. Are you sure? Yes, Shen Wudao responded firmly. Understood. Commencing inheritance. Suddenly, Shen Wudao felt his mind grow hazy. It felt as though his soul was suspended in a vast, boundless darkness. In this endless void, Shen Wudao felt incredibly small and lonely. His flesh began to peel away, and the sound of his bones cracking filled the air. In the blink of an eye, Shen Wudao had become a blooded figure. Enduring the dual torment of both mind and body, Shen Wudao clenched his fists tightly. Despite his blood and flesh being blurred, the veins on his arms stood out from the tension of his grip. He gritted his teeth, each bite making a harsh noise. Suddenly, a glimmer of starlight emerged from the dark void in his mind, growing brighter and more numerous. The blood and flesh that had fallen off started to grow back. After some time, Shen Wudao, as though reborn, nodded with satisfaction. So, this is the Chaos Saint body. I can feel the spiritual energy of the entire world rushing towards me. This sensation is absolutely wonderful. Host, the benefits of the Chaos Saint body are many. You'll understand more in the future. Remember, everything the system offers is of the highest quality, the system proudly proclaimed. Listening to the system's self-praise, Shen Wudao smiled and replied, "All right, I get it. By the way, I'm going to take the Ascension Pill to try and reach the Void Realm." Understood, host. After consuming the Ascension Pill, Shen Wudao felt an enormous influx of spiritual energy surging through his limbs and body. His body, mind, and soul seemed to be nourished by this energy. The impurities within him were being purged, and the external spiritual energy seemed to rush toward him crazily. After a long while, Shen Wudao sighed in relief. Looking at the dark, foul-smelling impurities that had been expelled from his body, he couldn't help but shake his head. Finally, I've reached the Void Realm. The next morning. Master, I've completed the investigation on Yi Chen. He is the son of Yi Zhanlong, the head of the Yi family, one of the 3 major families in Qianyan City. Yi Chen reached the middle stage of body cultivation at age 7, the middle stage of foundation building at 10, and the late stage of pill condensation at 13, earning a reputation as a genius. However, strangely, in the past 7 years, his cultivation declined instead of progressing. He fell back to the middle stage of body cultivation, going from a genius to a waste in the eyes of the people, which left many shaking their heads in disbelief. But recently, his cultivation has made a huge leap. In just a few months, he has reached the late stage of foundation building. It's truly puzzling. Upon hearing Zhao Yi's report, Shen Wudao could already faintly guess that Yi Chen had activated his golden finger. After all, being the protagonist, it wasn't impossible for him to progress so quickly. System notification: the task of understanding the Son of Luck, Yi Chen, is complete. Villain points increased by 3,000. Millimeter, nice work this time, Shen Wudao remarked, signaling Zhao Yi to leave. He then added with a smirk, golden finger, huh? I'm really looking forward to seeing you and Yi Chen turn against each other. Without your golden finger, can you still call yourself the protagonist? Chapter 4, Wana makes the elixir, Yi Chen appears. Wana, do you know what I told you? Got it, Brother Wudao, I will work hard to refine the body tempering pill, the mind nourishing pill, and the soul nourishing pill in the next few days, and I will also write the divorce letter. Don't worry. Shen Wudao gently touched Zhao Weiner's little head, put his lips to Zhao Weiner's ear and whispered, just do your best, but don't work too hard on yourself, otherwise you will be exhausted and I will have to take care of you. Zhao Wana felt Shen Wudao's warm breath and caring words, and her fair cheeks suddenly turned as red as apples. She quickly lowered her head and said softly, I understand, Brother Wudao. Although her words were very soft, it could be heard that Zhao Wana was also very happy. 6 days later, early morning. Brother Wudao, get up. A voice as sweet and melodious as a yellow warbler came into Shen Wudao's ears. Shen Wudao gently opened the door and found the elf-like Zhao Wana. The girl was dressed in white, with long black hair falling to her waist like a waterfall, and her bright eyes blinked as if they could speak, as if telling others that she was in a good mood. A ray of morning light shone on the girl's delicate body, making people want to protect her. Brother Wudao, are you ready? I have refined 300 body tempering pills, 200 mind nourishing pills, and 150 soul nourishing pills in the past few days. After saying that, he took out bottles of pills from the storage ring and showed them to Shen Wudao as if to show off. Shen Wudao lovingly touched Zhao Wana's long black and shiny hair with his hand, and asked with concern, why do you refine so much? You don't take care of your body. Are you tired? Listening to Shen Wudao's caring words, Zhao Wana felt a surge of warmth in her heart, and she quickly replied, I'm not tired, I'm not tired. Besides, Brother Wudao has promised to help me break off the engagement. I'm refining pills to make up for the Yi family, and this is also for myself. I'm not tired. Okay then, let's go to the Yi family. Well, Brother Wudao, are we going to take your Taichu flying tower this time? Yes, don't you want to solve this matter as soon as possible? The Taichu flying tower is not only fast, but also safe. We can also enjoy the surrounding scenery along the way. Really? Brother Wudao, you are so nice. The Taichu flying tower is a means of transportation specially equipped by the Shen family for Shen Wudao. It is 300 feet long, 200 feet wide, and 200 feet high. It is divided into 40 floors and can accommodate nearly 10,000 people. The normal maintenance staff alone can reach thousands of people. However, Shen Wudao doesn't like riding the Taichu flying tower because it is too ostentatious. Tianyan Country, Tianyan City. People looked at the Taichu flying tower that blocked out the sun in the sky and couldn't help but sigh in admiration. What is this thing? Why is it so spectacular? I wish I could ride it for a while. You're dreaming. It's impossible for you to achieve this in your lifetime. Do you know what this is called? I'm telling you, this is the means of transportation that Taichu Holy Land specially allocated to the Holy Son of Taichu, Shen Wudao Taichu Flying Tower. Wow, then doesn't that mean I'll have a chance to meet the Holy Son of Taichu? I heard that the Holy Son of Taichu is a famous handsome man. I just don't know where he is going. A crazy girl said to herself. Come on, how could the Holy Son of the Beginning stop by our place? I guess it must be because a rare treasure has been born. The Holy Son of the Beginning must have come for the rare treasure. Amid the discussion, the Taichu flying tower stopped in the air in front of the Yi family's gate. Suddenly, a ladder descended from the tower, and under the astonished gaze of the crowd, a man and a woman came down from the tower. The man was very handsome. He was dressed in white, with a smooth, white face, showing a firmness with clear edges and corners. His dark and deep eyes were shining with a charming color. His black and straight hair, his slanted and handsome eyebrows, and his beautiful lips all showed nobility and elegance, and there was always a smile on the corner of his mouth, making everyone feel like they were in the spring breeze. He stood on the Taichu flying tower, like a banished immortal in the world. The woman who came down with him was also extremely beautiful. She had a beautiful oval face, a pair of bright big eyes, slender willow leaf eyebrows, a small nose, and waist-length ink black hair that danced in the wind, like a fairy from heaven descending to earth. Everyone was stunned for a moment. What a handsome man and beautiful woman. It was Shen Wudao and Zhao Weiner who came down. Shen Wudao held Zhao Weiner's fair little hand and walked to the door of the Yi family. Behind him were a large group of guards. At this moment, a large group of people appeared from the Yi family. The head of the Yi family, Yi Zhanlong, leads the Yi family members to welcome the Holy Son. The Holy Son's arrival brings honor to our Yi family. Okay. I'm here to ask the Yi family for something. Master Yi, you don't have to be polite. Looking at the servile faces of the Yi family members, Shen Wudao showed a hint of disdain in his heart. Holy Son, please come in, please come in. Yi family meeting room. Yi Zhanlong asked cautiously, I wonder why the Holy Son suddenly came to visit. What's the matter? I heard that Patriarch Yi's father had arranged a marriage for your son Yi Chen in his early years. I came here today just for this marriage. My father did arrange a marriage for my son in his early years. I wonder how the Holy Son knew about this. Yi Zhanlong was a little puzzled. Logically speaking, the Holy Son should not have come to the Yi family for such a trivial matter. Wana, please explain the situation. The girl walked out from behind Shen Wudao, greeted Yi Zhanlong politely, and then told him about the cancellation of the engagement. After hearing this, Yi Zhanlong's face turned livid, and he clenched his hands tightly, but he couldn't get angry, because the person in front of him was the Holy Son of Taichu Holy Land. If the Holy Son got angry, his entire Yi family would be destroyed. But cancelling the engagement is such a shame for the Yi family. If it gets out, how can the Yi family face the world? As if he had heard Yi Zhanlong's inner monologue, Shen Wudao smiled and said, Master Yi, although my coming to cancel the engagement this time has hurt the Yi family's reputation, you also know that Yi Chen is now a waste, and what about Wana? Although her cultivation talent is not high, her strength is much stronger than Yi Chen. Besides, Wana has great talent in alchemy. Excuse me for being blunt, but you are not worthy of Wana. Don't worry, we have also prepared something to make it up to the Yi family for breaking off the engagement this time. Wana, take out the elixir you made. No need. My Yi family does not need charity from others. Take your charity away. My Yi family does not need it. A cold voice came, and then a young man with ordinary appearance but a resolute face came in. He is Yi Chen. Chapter 5. Can you represent the Yi family? After hearing Yi Chen's words, Yi Zhanlong seemed to have made up his mind and said, Son, you came here in person today to cancel the engagement, but my Yi family is not as powerful as others. I agree, but we don't need your compensation. My Yi family doesn't like these things. After hearing Yi Zhanlong's words, Yi Chen stared at Zhao Wana with his dark pupils filled with anger and unwillingness. Zhao Wana, who was being stared at, couldn't help but feel a little scared. Shen Wudao, who was standing next to her, saw this and grabbed Zhao Wana's hand and gave her a reassuring look. Seeing what Shen Wudao did, the fear in Zhao Wana's heart flashed away, and her heart was filled with sweetness. Master Yi, don't speak so early. Shen Wudao threw the storage ring containing the elixir to Yi Zhanlong. There are 300 first-grade bodybuilding pills, 200 second-grade foundation building pills, and 150 third-grade soul-nourishing pills. These are all pills made by Wana herself as compensation, representing Wana's thoughts. Master Yi, don't you really want them? Yi Zhanqian picked up the storage ring with trembling hands. Oh my god, there were so many pills, almost enough to match the entire Yi family. There are actually third-grade elixirs. You should know that there is only one third-grade alchemist in the entire Qianyan kingdom. Just when Yi Zhanlong was hesitating, the great elder Yi Zhanqian beside him said with a smile, "The Holy Sun has come in person to cancel the engagement. We cannot let him down for his kindness to us. I think we should accept the compensation, clan leader. With these pills, our Yi family can cultivate so many outstanding children. By then, our Yi family may even become the #1 family in Qianyan country." After hearing these words, Yi Chen, who was standing next to him, looked at the elder gloomily and said, "How can our Yi family be so spineless and accept charity?" Then he snatched the ring from Yi Zhanlong's hand and threw it to the ground. The great elder's face suddenly turned ugly. Just as he was about to lose his temper, he noticed that Yi Zhanlong was staring at him, so he had to give up. Yi Chen looked at Shen Wudao and Zhao Wana with gloomy eyes and said, "I agree to cancel the engagement. Remember, it's not you, Zhao Wana, who is going to cancel the engagement, but I am going to divorce you. But I hope you won't regret it. You know, things change over time. Don't look down on the young and poor." After saying this, he was about to pick up a pen and paper to write a divorce letter. When Shen Wudao saw this, he felt a surge of contempt in his heart. What do you mean by 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west? Don't bully the poor young? If I didn't bully you when you were poor, would I bully you when you are rich? What's wrong with this train of thought? If I hadn't been plotting against your golden finger, I would have slapped you down long ago. Even though I can't kill you, it's good to satisfy my desire. Although he was extremely unhappy inside, Shen Wudao couldn't show it. He said to Yi Chen, who was writing a divorce letter, "Brother Yi Chen has great ambitions, but this divorce letter is not for you to write. Sister Wana, please take out the divorce letter." Shen Wudao came to Yi Chen with the divorce letter and said, "Sister Wana is my disciple of Taichu Holy Land, and also my playmate since childhood. Wana and I are in love with each other. If you write the divorce letter, where will I be placed? Where will Taichu Holy Land be placed?" After saying that, he threw the divorce letter to Yi Chen. "From now on, you have nothing to do with Zhao Wana, so don't get entangled with her. Har har, if you don't use your power to suppress others, it will be a waste. If you want to blame someone, just blame your poor background, my dear protagonist Yi Chen." Yi Chen tightly grasped the divorce letter, veins bulging in his hands, his eyes filled with humiliation and anger. He was like a mad beast, ready to run wild at any time. Shen Wudao chuckled inwardly when he saw this. This was the kind of person he could bear, and he was so easily impulsive. He valued face more than anything else. Shen Wudao suddenly remembered a sentence from his previous life. If a person has no shame, he will be invincible in the world. It seems that our protagonist Yi Chen has not yet reached this level. You know, breaking off an engagement was a very common thing in his previous life. For example, his girlfriend left him because he had no money. Anyway, Yi Chen and Zhao Wana had never met each other, and they had no emotional foundation. It was just a breakup, wasn't it? As for making it like a mortal enemy, giving you compensation, and you still said it was a pity, the people in this world are really shameless. Looking at Yi Chen, whose eyes were bloodshot and close to going berserk, Shen Wudao's aura suddenly unfolded, and his strength in the early Dongshu period was displayed at once, shocking everyone in the Yi family, and Zhao Wana's beautiful eyes also shone with excitement. I didn't expect Brother Wudao to have reached the void stage. He is truly a rare genius that only appears once in 1,000 years. She looked at Shen Wudao with admiration, becoming more and more obsessed. The pressure from the Dongshu period made Yi Chen breathless, but his eyes were still fixed on Shen Wudao, with a look as if he wanted to eat someone. Shen Wudao looked at Yi Chen, who was persisting, and smiled in his heart. I heard that the protagonists would rather die than surrender. I want to see if that's true. He increased the pressure again. Yi Chen's face had turned red, blood had seeped out of his body, staining his clothes red. Finally, he couldn't hold on any longer. With a thud, Yi Chen fell to his knees, unable to withstand the pressure. Seeing Yi Chen's expression, Shen Wudao smiled with satisfaction. He turned to Yi Zhanlong and said, "Give the head of the Yi family a favor today. You should know how tall the grass on the grave of the person who usually looks at me like this is now." Yi Zhanlong thanked him tremblingly, because he was the most powerful person in the Yi family, but he was only in the middle stage of the Lingshu period. If Shen Wudao was determined to kill Yi Chen, he would have no choice. Shen Wudao looked at Yi Chen, who was kneeling on the ground, then looked at Yi Zhanlong and said, "Master Yi is too polite. The death penalty can be spared, but the living crime cannot be escaped. How about this? I won't make any excessive demands, just let him apologize to me." Hearing this, Yi Zhanlong's expression relaxed. Fortunately, it was not an excessive request. He looked at Yi Chen and said, "Rebellious son, why don't you apologize to the Holy Son?" Yi Chen's face tightened, but he had to apologize. If the entire Yi family was implicated because of him, he would be the sinner of the Yi family. "Son, I'm sorry. I was wrong." Looking at Yi Chen, who was full of humiliation, and saying what he was unwilling to say, Shen Wudao was very happy. At this time, the system prompt sounded, "Congratulations to the host, plundering Yi Chen's 10 points of luck value. I hope the host will continue to work hard. I'm still 40 points short of luck to kill this useless protagonist. It's a long way to go." Chapter 6, Weak Golden Finger, the beginning of estrangement. Just as Shen Wudao was holding Zhao Wanna's hand and preparing to leave the Yi family, he suddenly discovered that the legendary golden finger did not appear. Didn't Yi Chen get the golden finger? He looked at Yi Chen's hands with a puzzled look, and indeed found that Yi Chen was wearing a simple black ring on the ring finger of his left hand. Strange? Why didn't I feel any of its presence just now? Suddenly, he seemed to understand something. Because Zhao Yi had told him, the Yi family made a living by refining basic elixirs, such as pain-relieving powder, spirit-gathering pills and other first-grade low-level elixirs, but recently, a large number of first-grade high-level and even second-grade intermediate healing medicines suddenly appeared on the Yi family's counter. Because of their low prices and good efficacy, they quickly seized the entire Qianyun City elixir market. Shen Wudao originally thought that it was the elixir that Golden Finger taught Yi Chen to refine. Now it seems that Golden Finger refined it himself, causing it to consume a lot of soul power and fall into a state of false sleep. If Yi Chen was not in danger of his life, the Golden Finger would not appear to protect him. Thinking of this, Shen Wudao smiled evilly, and a plan to sow discord emerged. He took out 5 soul grasses from his storage ring and placed them on the table in the meeting room of the Yi family. Under everyone's surprised gaze, Shen Wudao muttered to himself, "Senior, I know you can hear me. As the saying goes, good birds choose trees to roost in. You follow a person who has nothing and needs your protection everywhere. Don't you feel it's too aggrieved? You don't actually owe him anything. You are so weak because of him, but he can't even find herbs to nourish your soul. I don't hope that you can change your mind immediately. These 5 soul herbs are just a gift to you. Senior, see you again if we are destined to." Under everyone's surprised gaze, Shen Wudao took Zhao Wanna's hand and climbed up the Taichu flying tower, but no one noticed that the ancient black ring on Yi Chen's hand trembled. When Yi Chen discovered the soul grass, his eyes lit up. He said to Yi Zhanlong, "Father, I want these 5 soul grasses." Looking at Yi Chen with an eager face, Yi Zhanlong said, "Just take it. After all, you have done a lot for the Yi family. The Yi family can achieve a monopoly on elixirs largely due to your help." After that, he said to the people around him, "Don't tell anyone what happened today. It's a disgrace to the Yi family." Everyone quickly said yes. At the end, he said to Yi Chen, "Forget what happened today. The Holy Son of Taichu is too strong. Don't think about holding a grudge against him. You can't beat him." After saying that, Yi Zhanlong sighed and left the meeting hall. The crowd dispersed in an instant, and Yi Chen was the only one left in the huge meeting hall. "Forget? How is that possible? I will repay him for the shame he brought to me today someday." Holding the Shenhun grass in his hand, Yi Chen said to himself, "Master, with this Shenhun grass, you can wake up immediately." As for Shen Wudao's words of dissension, he didn't care at all, because his master had fallen into a deep sleep a few days ago due to excessive alchemy that caused his soul power to be extremely weakened. He usually couldn't wake up his master, so he thought that his master didn't hear what Shen Wudao said, and instead gave him 5 of the desired Shenhun grasses for nothing. But what Yi Chen didn't know was that she had already woken up when Shen Wudao used his coercion on Yi Chen, because she felt that Shen Wudao was extraordinarily powerful. Taichu flew upstairs. "Brother Wudao, why did you take out the spiritual grass and say such strange things?" Wana, the little girl, was very excited after successfully breaking off the engagement, so she chattered non-stop along the way. Shen Wudao could only act as a listener, but Zhao Wana's voice was very nice, so he didn't feel annoyed, but rather felt quite good. "Why?" "Because I want to find a great alchemy master for Wana. The highest alchemist in our holy land is only rank 7, I'm afraid they won't be able to teach Wana soon." As for the alchemy level of Golden Finger, Shen Wudao was still very confident. Zhao Wana was stunned after hearing this. Although she had some doubts, she still chose to believe Shen Wudao because Brother Wudao had never lied to her. Looking at Zhao Wana, who didn't ask any further questions, Shen Wudao nodded with satisfaction. He actually liked the way Zhao Wana was. She wouldn't ask questions that she shouldn't ask. Then he said to Zhao Wana with a smile, "Wana, you see, Brother Wudao helped you cancel your marriage, and is going to help you find a super powerful master. How are you going to repay me?" Zhao Wana blushed when she was asked. She clenched the corner of her white skirt tightly with both hands. As if she had made up her mind, she stood on tiptoe and pecked Shen Wudao gently on the lips. Then she ran back to the room and Taichu flew like a fly. After that, her face flushed and her heart beat like a deer. Shen Wudao was stunned. When did this little girl become so bold? Chapter 7: Investigate the Great Elder and his plan against Yi Chen. After returning to their holy land, Shen Wudao summoned Zhao Yi again, because he found that to deal with the Sons of Destiny, he could start with their families, friends, and confidants. After all, the Sons of Destiny were not easy to deal with. According to his many years of experience in writing novels, the Son of Luck cannot be pushed too hastily, otherwise there will definitely be unexpected results, such as jumping off a cliff without dying and obtaining a peerless inheritance, or being forced into a forbidden area where there is no chance of survival. He may instead obtain unexpected benefits. Also, you must not underestimate the Son of Luck's ability to fight above his level. Shen Wudao is not those stupid villains in fantasy stories who send people to give experience to Yi Chen. What he had to do was to gradually disintegrate the forces around the Son of Luck, because doing so could also seize his luck value. When the Son of Luck's luck value was less than 50, he would then suppress him and try to kill him once and for all. "Sir, what do you want to call me for?" Hearing Zhao Yi's voice, Shen Wudao turned his back to him and said, "Go and investigate Yi Chen's confidants, especially to see if there are any adopted daughters in the Yi family who have a good relationship with Yi Chen. Also, send someone to pay attention to Yi Chen's recent actions. By the way, investigate the elder Yi Zhantian. I always feel that he and Yi Zhanlong and his son are not on good terms." Shen Wudao, who knew the plot of the novel well, was also worried that there was a powerful woman behind Yi Chen. But Shen Wudao was not afraid either, as he had the support of the Taichu Holy Land, so it would only be more troublesome to deal with Yi Chen. "Why do you care so much about Yi Chen, sir? Do you want to deal with Yi Chen? The Yi family is just a small family. As long as you say a word, there will be countless people vying to help you solve the problem." Shen Wudao turned around, looked at Zhao Yi with a cold expression and said, "How long have you been with me?" When Zhao Yi saw Shen Wudao's expression, he immediately realized that he had done something wrong. He had followed Shen Wudao for 12 years. He knew that the young master was more mature than other children and did not like others to ask him questions that were too in-depth. To put it bluntly, Zhao Yi is Shen Wudao's slave. Don't be fooled by how successful he is now. When he goes out, people respectfully call him Brother Zhao. Even some old monsters in the god transformation stage are polite to him when they see him. But that was all given to him by Shen Wudao. Because Shen Wudao is the holy son of the Taichu Holy Land, he has a powerful and noble background. When he thought about how he and his family would be ruined if he displeased the young master, he broke out in a cold sweat. "I was too talkative, I hope you will forgive me." Looking at the more respectful Zhao Yi in front of him, Shen Wudao waved his hand to signal him to go out, and then a faint voice came, "Remember to get things done." After leaving the Holy Son's bedroom, Zhao Yi was still trembling. Did the young master forgive him? Shen Wudao was the only one left in the palace, and he was thinking about the details of how to deal with Yi Chen. In order to kill him when the time comes, he also had to make some preparations. Why can the protagonist continue to gain success even though he is so weak and flamboyant? Shen Wudao could only come to one conclusion: you can run. It was indeed true. Those sons of destiny could always run away when they encountered danger, and the enemies could never catch up with them. Whenever Shen Wudao saw such a plot, he always showed a hint of contempt. The younger one was killed, and the older one came out. There was no preparation at all, and in the end the protagonist escaped, and then killed him. Are you here to show your strength or to kill people? I think you are just here to give away experience. System, open them all. Host, you now have 423,000 villain points. What do you need? I need some props that can be used for location tracking. Do you have any? Yes, host. Considering your current villain value, this system recommends you to use the locator. It can provide the host with the precise location of the person being tracked. No matter if the enemy is invisible or diving, it can make the enemy have no way to escape. Each locator only costs 50,000 villain value. Why is it so expensive? Host, you can also purchase their 9 Heavens Dragon Locking Formation. Using it, you can imprison everything around you, leaving the enemy with no way to escape. It only requires 500,000 villain points. Shen Wudao couldn't help but grin when he heard this. It's really expensive. Or it's a positioning incense. Shen Wudao, who always thought he had a lot of villain value, found out that he was still a poor guy when he bought props for the first time. It seems that there is still a long way to go to earn villain value. Buy a locator. Oh, and how do I use it? The host only needs to put a trace of his own divine thought into the locator, and then inject it into the body of the person being located. Compared with directly injecting divine thoughts into the body, the advantage of the locator is that it will not be discovered by the enemy at all. It is like a carrier that protects the divine thoughts from being discovered. So that's how it is. By the way, why hasn't the super spirit beast egg you gave me hatched yet? I've been waiting for a few days. Could it be fake? Host, please be careful with your words. This system will not lie. The incubation period of spirit beasts is generally quite long, ranging from a few years to several decades or even hundreds of years. The incubation period of super spirit beasts is even longer. But if their host doesn't want to wait that long, you can buy a drop of water of life in the mall. The water of life can greatly prolong life and speed up the hatching time. Considering that this super spirit beast egg has been incubated in this system for nearly 500 years, only one drop is needed to hatch it immediately. Shen Wudao didn't expect that the egg would not hatch when he was old, so he opened the mall to buy a drop of water of life. When he saw the price, he was stunned. It cost 300,000 villain points to buy one drop. This is ridiculously expensive. Alas, it is true that time is more valuable than gold. In Shen Wudao's opinion, even a mountain of gold cannot buy a drop of the water of life. Chapter 8 System. Why did a little fox pop out of the egg? Shen Wudao bought a drop of water of life with a painful heart. Seeing that he only had 73,000 villain points left, Shen Wudao felt empty inside. However, when he thought that this super spirit beast egg might hatch into a peerless dragon as written in the fantasy books, he couldn't help but smile. Just imagine how majestic it would be to travel on a dragon. He carefully dripped the water of life into the egg, and the super spirit beast egg immediately responded. The spirit beast egg shook violently, and the life inside seemed to be eager to break free from the eggshell. He knew this was a good time to acknowledge his master, so he bit his finger and wrote and drew on the eggshell. Yes, he was casting the blood curse of acknowledging his master. Finally, Shen Wudao completed the spell. Suddenly, the eggshell cracked, and Shen Wudao looked at his spirit beast companion with great anticipation as it was about to come out. Just then, a furry white little paw stretched out from the eggshell, followed by 2 long, furry pointed ears, and then its little head and long, pointed mouth were revealed. It seemed to have been bound in the eggshell for too long, so it jumped out, with its furry white little tail raised high. Shen Wudao's expression gradually changed from anticipation and excitement to surprise, and finally to astonishment. Because a little fox popped out of the egg. The little fox was hatched from the egg. Shen Wudao felt that his intelligence was insulted. When the little fox saw Shen Wudao, it immediately threw itself into his arms, because it could feel the closeness to Shen Wudao in its blood. Shen Wudao, who was at a loss as he held the little fox in his arms, questioned the system with a dark face. System, won't you explain? Where have you ever seen a fox jump out of an egg? Hearing Shen Wudao's anger, the system said calmly, well, this system cannot explain this for the time being, but you have to know that the world is so big that there are all kinds of strange things. But host, don't be discouraged. According to this system's observation, this little fox has the pure blood of the nine-tailed sky fox. You have to know that in the ancient times of this continent, the nine-tailed sky fox lineage was also a powerful clan. The lowest level of the nine-tailed sky fox bloodline can also reach the Lingshu period, and those with pure bloodline can reach the Shenhua period, and can even break through the limit, step into their void, and become a demon god. Also, the nine-tailed heavenly fox has always been famous for its beauty and charm. You only need to feed it spiritual medicine every day. When it reaches the fourth stage, spiritual void stage, and transforms, you will have a peerless beauty to accompany you. Why not? After hearing what the system said, Shen Wudao felt better. However, he suddenly thought of a serious problem, so he hurriedly checked the little fox in his arms. Fortunately, it was a female, and Shen Wudao's heart finally fell. The little fox in Shen Wudao's arms, who was being teased by him, rolled his eyes at him in a humane and charming way. That humane roll of eyes, coupled with its snow-white fur, reminded Shen Wudao of the line of a fox in a game in his previous life, "Master, please give Deji your orders." Shen Wudao shuddered and quickly omitted those scenes. He looked carefully at the little fox in his arms. It was a little fox with snow-white fur, two curved black eyes, a furry tail raised high, a petite body, and was lovable. Anyone who saw it would want to hug it and touch its snow-white and smooth body. Shen Wudao couldn't help but sigh. The fox's body is so beautiful and attractive, what a disaster it would be if it transformed. Looking at the petite little fox in his arms, Shen Wudao caressed its little head lovingly. The little fox seemed to enjoy such caressing and raised its head high to respond to Shen Wudao. Shen Wudao looked at the little fox in his arms, who was enjoying himself, and murmured, "Since you have the purest blood of the nine-tailed heavenly fox, I will call you Xiaojiu, and your full name will be Su Xiaojiu." Write about the realms and weapon fighting skills classifications in this book. The cultivation system of the human part of this book is divided into 7 stages: body training, foundation building, fasting, spiritual emptiness, cave emptiness, virtual spirit, and transformation of spirit. The cultivation system in the divine world is divided into 7 stages: true God, heavenly God, king of gods, lord of gods, monarch of gods, emperor of gods, and supreme immortality. Monsters are divided into levels 1 to 14, corresponding to the cultivation system. Monsters can transform when they reach level for humans Lingshu period. Note, each stage is divided into 4 parts: early, middle, late, and peak. Body refining stage: activate the qi in the body's meridians, refine out the impurities in the body, and ultimately achieve a harmonious state between the meridians and the flesh and blood. Foundation building stage: you can control the natural loss rate of your own essence, energy, and spirit, thereby greatly increasing your lifespan. The Bigu period: truly touching the threshold of a monk, not eating grains, relying on absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to nourish oneself. Lingshu stage: one becomes more proficient at absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and can live up to 300 years. Dongshu stage: completely mastering the absorption and utilization of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Able to fly. Lifespan can reach 600 years. Virtual God stage: touching the threshold of God, a false god. Can break through their void and travel 1,000 miles in one step. Lifespan can reach 1,000 years. The deification stage: the most critical stage from human to god, capable of burning the sky and boiling the sea, and the lifespan can reach 5,000 years. After becoming a god, one's lifespan is infinite and will not be further described. The fighting skills in Shenwu continent are divided into Huang, Xian, Di, and Tian. They are divided into 3 levels: high, medium, and low. The weapons in Shenwu continent are divided into yellow, black, earth, and heaven. There is no rank distinction. The divine world is only divided into cultivation techniques. For example, the divine king level techniques can only be cultivated to the divine king level, and they contain various divine king level fighting skills. The weapons in the divine world also correspond 1-to-1 with the levels of cultivation in the divine world, such as the weapons of the divine king level. The Taichu Holy Land where the protagonist is located is the strongest of the 4 holy lands, with nearly 1,000 dynasties affiliated to it. When the villain strikes back and becomes the protagonist, write about the realm and weapon fighting skills classification of this book. I am typing it manually, please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page to get the latest updates. Chapter 9: Yi Chen started to refine the elixir. Aunt Mai wakes up. 3 days later. Sir, you are right. Yi Zhanqian, the eldest elder of the Yi family, does have a rift with Yi Zhanlong and his son. Yi Xing, the grandson of Yi Zhanqian, has been very talented since he was a child. Unfortunately, his halo was overshadowed by Yi Chen when he was a child, which led to everyone in the Yi family saying that Yi Chen is a genius. A lot of resources were also tilted towards Yi Chen, and they forgot about him. Ever since Yi Chen's cultivation level dropped, Yi Xing has been mocking and bullying Yi Chen. Recently, he was seen bullying Yi Chen by Yi Zhanlong, who dotes on Yi Chen. He was so angry that he beat Yi Xing. When the elder saw the injured Yi Xing, even though he had been dissatisfied with Yi Zhanlong and his son for a long time, he dared not speak out. After all, his strength was not as good as Yi Zhanlong's, and his status was even lower than his. According to my investigation, the Yi family has no adopted daughter, and Yi Chen usually stays at home and has no female confidants. But according to the informant's report, Yi Chen has recently been refining a large amount of a first-grade intermediate healing pill called Living Spirit Pill. After listening to Zhao Yi's report, Shen Wudao thought for a moment and said, "You contact Yi Zhanqian and tell him that I want to meet him tonight. Be careful not to be discovered by others." "Yes, sir." Zhao Yi breathed a sigh of relief after walking out of the Holy Son's bedroom. The young master finally forgave him. When Shen Wudao in the bedroom learned that Yi Chen had no confidant and was still refining pills, he smiled helplessly. "There is a road to heaven but you don't take it, there is no door to hell but you break in. System, I want to buy an item that can destroy the pharmacological mechanism of the elixir. This system recommends that you buy colorless destructive powder. Taking it alone will not cause any harm to the cultivator, but once it comes into contact with elixirs, the inside of the elixir will undergo drastic changes, turning the elixir into poison, but the appearance of the elixir will not change, and no one will ever discover its use. However, it is only effective for elixirs of the second grade and below, and only 70,000 villain values are needed per gram. This is really expensive." But in order for the plan to succeed, Shen Wudao had to harden his heart and buy 1 gram of colorless destructive powder. Looking at the powder in front of him, Shen Wudao revealed a weird smile. 3 days ago, Yi family, Yi Chen's courtyard. "Aunt Mai, you finally woke up. Chenna." A lazy and pleasant voice reached Yi Chen's ears. Yi Chen was overjoyed when he saw the beautiful middle-aged woman, who was left with only her soul. He had lacked maternal love since he was a child. Since this beautiful middle-aged woman suddenly appeared a few months ago, she not only taught him how to practice, but also made him feel the deep maternal love. This feeling of being both a teacher and a mother made him extremely dependent on this soul who called herself Auntie Mai. "Aunt Mai, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked you to refine so many pills for my own selfish reasons, causing you to fall asleep. Chenna, don't say that. If it weren't for you, Aunt Mai might still be sleeping now." Aunt Mai said to Yi Chen with a loving face. What followed was a simple exchange between master and disciple. Suddenly, Yi Chen's face froze and he said to Aunt Mai, is there any way to become stronger quickly? I want to become stronger, I want revenge. Chenna, what's wrong with you? Who did you have a grudge against? You have to know that the path of cultivation relies on steady progress. Although those unorthodox methods can increase the speed of cultivation, they will also lead to an unstable foundation, and it will be difficult to achieve great success in the future. Aunt Mai, it's the Holy Son of Taichu, the god of no justice. He actually came to my house today to break off the engagement to humiliate me, humiliate my Yi family, and even forced me to kneel. I will not be at peace until I take revenge. Aunt Mai was stunned after hearing this. She was also aware of what had happened between him and Shen Wudao. In fact, Aunt Mai still had some good feelings towards Shen Wudao. After all, if it was the usually arrogant and domineering son of God, how could he come in person to cancel the engagement and give so much compensation? Aunt Mai even felt that Yi Chen was asking for humiliation. If Yi Chen's attitude was not too arrogant, how could the Holy Son of Taichu humiliate him? However, in the face of Yi Chen's disrespect, the Holy Son of Taichu only taught Yi Chen a lesson instead of taking his life. Compared with other big shots, this is really a very good temper. You must know that if anyone dares to disrespect the Holy Son, the Yi family will be wiped out immediately with just one word from the Holy Son. After hesitating for a while, Aunt Mai still said to Yi Chen, Chenna, is there any misunderstanding between you and the Holy Son of Taichu? How could it be a misunderstanding? I will never forget the humiliation he inflicted on me. Aunt Mai, you don't know how arrogant the Holy Son of the beginning was at that time. Looking at Yi Chen's angry face, Aunt Mai sighed secretly in her heart. How could I not know? Alas, Chenner is still too impulsive. Chapter 10 Confident Yi Chen. Aunt Mai, I have decided. I want to go out and gain experience. Only in the test of life and death can I stimulate my potential. But before that, I want to learn alchemy. I want to make pills. Aunt Mai looked at Yi Chen, who had a determined face, and said with a smile, I also support Chenner to go out for training. After all, flowers in a greenhouse cannot grow up. But what she couldn't understand was, why did Chenner suddenly change his personality? Thinking back, she had absorbed a large amount of spiritual energy from Yi Chen to wake up, which also caused Yi Chen's cultivation to regress over the past few years. He was called a waste, and Aunt Mai felt deeply guilty about this. When she woke up, she found that Yi Chen not only had a talent for cultivation, but also had a strong talent for alchemy. Unfortunately, when Aunt Mai wanted to teach him the alchemy skills, he refused, because Yi Chen did not believe that this beautiful woman who suddenly appeared would be so kind. So when Aunt Mai taught him fighting skills and taught him the methods of cultivation, and even made elixirs on her own to allow the Yi family to monopolize the elixir market in Tianyan City, Yi Chen finally discovered that this beautiful woman was really good to him. Unfortunately, Aunt Mai over-refined the elixir, causing her soul power to be greatly reduced and she fell into a deep sleep. Aunt Mai, last time you fell into a deep sleep due to excessive alchemy for the Yi family, I felt very guilty. I decided to refine a batch of pills for the Yi family, so that when I go out for training, the Yi family will not have any problems. I can also rest assured. Looking at Yi Chen, who looked guilty, Aunt Mai showed an approving look. Okay, Aunt Mai will teach you a medicine that can both heal and strengthen your body. Although it is not of high grade, it has good efficacy and the raw materials are easy to obtain. It is the living spirit pill. It has to be said that Yi Chen's talent in alchemy is indeed strong. After just watching Aunt Mai's alchemy technique once, he succeeded in refining it the second time. Aunt Mai said approvingly, not bad. Although it looks a bit ugly, the medicinal effect is still good. You need to practice more diligently. You know, refining pills is not a trivial matter. If some herbs are not added enough, the medicinal effect may not be achieved. If some herbs are added too much, the life-saving pill may become a poison. Remember that haste makes waste. But Yi Chen didn't think so in his heart, because when he thought of Shen Wudao's humiliation to him, he wanted to tear him to pieces. After successfully refining the elixir, Yi Chen finally made up his mind. He found Yi Zhanlong while Aunt Mai was returning to the ring to nourish her soul. Father, I need a lot of clover, snake flower, plantain, and other medicinal herbs. Why does Chenner need so many medicinal herbs? Father, I can't live under your protection forever. I want to go out into the world and gain some experience. Before I leave, I want to refine a batch of elixirs for the family. Only when there are no problems with father and the Yi family, can I gain experience with peace of mind. Chenner, are you going out to gain experience with your mysterious master? Thinking of Yi Chen's mysterious master, Yi Zhanlong was grateful from the bottom of his heart, because his master refined a large number of healing pills for the Yi family, which brought the crumbling Yi family back to life and allowed the Yi family to monopolize the pill market in Tianyan City. Yes, father, my master will go out with me to train. She also taught me the art of alchemy. Look, father, this is the elixir I made. This elixir is not only effective in healing, but can also help ordinary people strengthen their bodies. Most importantly, it is cheap. Upon hearing about the efficacy of the healing pill, Yi Zhanlong did not make a decision immediately, because he did not trust his son. Thinking back to the time when Master Yi Chen made the pill, he also had doubts. Because the pill is for people to eat, if there is a problem, it will be a huge trouble. As if sensing his father's doubts, Yi Chen said, Father, don't worry too much. The elixir I made has been tried and tested, and has also been praised by my master. There will definitely be no mistakes. Father, don't you still believe in my master? Looking at Yi Chen's determined face, Yi Zhanlong also made a decision. I will go collect the herbs you need right away. As for the so-called trial, it was of course made up by Yi Chen. He had great confidence in the pills he made. Chapter 11, Conquering the Great Elder and the Plan Against Yi Chen. Tianyan City, Tianyan Tower. The Great Elder looked at Shen Wudao in fear and trepidation, and said with respect and flattery, I don't know what instructions the Holy Sun has, but as long as you can use me, I will not hesitate to die. Looking at the servile Yi Zhantian, Shen Wudao said straight to the point, I think the head of the Yi family should be changed. I think the eldest elder is very suitable to be the head of the Yi family. In addition, Yixing is also very good and is very suitable for the title of the first genius of the Yi family. The great elder was stunned when he heard this, and then he couldn't suppress his joy. He said tremblingly with excitement, "Is what the Holy Son said serious?" Shen Wudao looked at the great elder with disdain and said, "As long as you help me deal with Yi Zhanlong and his son, the entire Yi family will be yours, and you will be mine from now on." Then he told Yi Zhantian the plan. Holding the small medicine bottle in his hand, Yi Zhantian's heart was beating fast. That was hundreds or thousands of lives. But when he thought of the conditions given by the Holy Son, he became determined again. But he couldn't understand why the Holy Son had to go through so much trouble to deal with the Yi family father and son. But he didn't dare to ask, so he had to bury it in his heart. Looking at Yi Zhantian walking out, Shen Wudao raised his head to look at the moon outside the window and said to himself, "Since I can't kill you in one go, I'll let you have a taste of being ruined and deserted by everyone." Oh, don't mention it, the moon is quite round tonight. 3 more days passed. Looking at the densely packed pills in front of her, Aunt Mai opened her eyes wide, looking shocked. "Chenna, how many living spirit pills have you refined in the past few days?" "Probably tens of thousands of them. These should be enough for a while. When these pills are sold in a few days, it will be time for me to set out for training." Aunt Mai looked at so many pills in disbelief. She always felt that Yi Chen's eagerness for quick success would cause problems with the pills. However, after silently checking dozens of pills and finding that there were no problems, and seeing Yi Chen's persistent eyes, she didn't think much about it. But she always felt something strange in her heart. And our god Wudao, the great son of God, has been teasing Zhao Wana these days, stroking the little fox. Don't mention it, stroking this little fox is just like stroking a cat, it's addictive. Zhao Wana also liked the little fox Xiaojiu very much. Maybe girls are naturally interested in cute things. But every time she wanted to touch Xiaojiu, Xiaojiu would always avoid her. But when Shen Wudao touched it, it would look like it was enjoying itself, and its eyes would bend with joy. This made Zhao Wana pout and look unhappy. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, another 3 days had passed. At this time, a piece of news spread throughout the Chenyan kingdom, shocking the great Chu dynasty so much that they did not dare to make a decision on their own and finally asked the Holy Land for ruling. After all, the incident was too big. People died, thousands of them, and before they died, they all took pills sold by the same pharmacy, and they all died of poisoning. Chapter 12. Is there any misunderstanding here? Wudao, come to the Holy Land Hall, there is something you need to do. Shen Yu's serious and solemn voice came from the sound transmission note. Shen Wudao smiled when he heard this, because he already knew what it was about. Har har, Yi Chen, I won't kill you this time. Father, I wonder why you called me here this time. Although he already knew that Shen Yu was going to send him to solve the Yi family's poison pill incident, he still pretended not to know. Shen Yu nodded to Shen Wudao, turned around and introduced him. This is the leader of the great Chu dynasty, Chu Liuxiang. Let him tell you what happened. Shen Wudao was shocked when he heard this. Chu Liuxiang? He immediately took a look at Chu Liuxiang. He had a fat head and big ears, a short stature, and a face full of fat. It was really eye-catching. Lord Chu. Shen Wudao bowed respectfully on the surface, but his heart was in turmoil. You are so polite, my lord. I am afraid of the consequences, but I will take it as a great gift from you. Chu Liuxiang was so frightened that he stuttered. He was so anxious that tears came down. You have to know that the Holy Son is a great man, and whether he can keep his position as the lord of the dynasty depends on Shen Wudao's words. It can be said that he is a servant, and Shen Wudao is the emperor who is high above. How can an emperor greet a servant? Shen Wudao felt even more contemptuous of Chu Liuxiang when he saw him like this. However, he still said, Lord Chu, your words are too serious. As the saying goes, elders come first. I should respect you. Chu Liuxiang immediately found that Shen Wudao was so amiable and kind, not at all like the other Holy Land disciples. He couldn't help but like Shen Wudao even more. I wonder what Lord Chu's purpose in coming to my Holy Land is. Looking at Chu Liuxiang, who had a dazed look on his face, Shen Wudao asked with a smile. Chu Liuxiang turned around and hurriedly told Shen Wudao what had happened in the Yi family. You also know this, Holy Son. Because you went to the Yi family a few days ago, I thought the Yi family had climbed up your high branch, so I temporarily confined the Yi family members to their homes. As for how to deal with it, I came here this time specifically to seek Holy Son's advice. Shen Wudao pretended to be surprised and angry when he heard this and said, "The Yi family has always been in the medicine business. Why did so many poisonous pills appear this time, killing so many innocent people? What happened to the Yi family? Holy son, do you know that this medicine was not produced by the Yi family's alchemist, but was made by Yi Chen, the son of the current patriarch Yi Zhanlong? It's ridiculous that the Yi family actually believed in a medicine made by an outsider. This is not taking human life seriously. It's simply unreasonable." Also, on the morning of the incident, Yi Chen had already packed his bags. If he hadn't been blocked by everyone, I guess he would have left the Yi family long ago. Looking at Chu Liuxian, who was full of anger and spitting, Shen Wudao smiled evilly, and then said seriously, "I have met Yi Chen. He is a talented person with great ambitions. He should not do such a thing to destroy his future. Is there any misunderstanding? As for running away, I think it may be a coincidence. Although I am optimistic about Yi Chen, if he did something like this, I would never condone it. Father, I asked to be sent to investigate this matter and give an explanation to the victims." Looking at Shen Wudao, who was speaking with a righteous look on his face, Chu Liuxiang suddenly felt that this holy son was truly wonderful. He actually made decisions for ordinary people. What a wonderful holy son he was. Shen Yu said calmly, "Okay, I'll leave it to you to do this. Remember, you must do it well. After all, those who died are also the people of my Taichu holy land. I will definitely fulfill my mission and bring peace and prosperity to the people." Chapter 13. I believe you, but how can you prove yourself? Tianyan City, in front of the Yi family's gate. Holy son, the Yi family is in front of us. You can see that those blocking the door are all the victims' families. Shen Wudao looked at the Yi family surrounded by 3 layers of enemies, and couldn't help but sneered. "Master Chu, go tell everyone that I will make the decision for everyone. I will try this case in front of everyone and give everyone justice." Chu Liuxian was overjoyed when he heard this and immediately sent someone to spread the news. "What? The Holy Son is here. Is the Holy Son here to make the decision for us? My poor child, someone is finally here to make the decision for you. My poor husband, someone finally comes to seek justice for you." Everyone looked at the handsome Taichu Holy Son Shen Wudao descending from the sky, and shouted in unison, "Holy Son, please help us." Shen Wudao looked at everyone and replied with sympathy, "Please rest assured, I will definitely uphold justice for you today, bring the murderer to justice, and give you justice." Everyone thanked God Wudao in unison. At this time, the Yi family members were also brought out by the law enforcement team brought by Shen Wudao from the Taichu Holy Land. As soon as the Yi family members came out, the victims' families immediately lost control. Some even rushed forward and wanted to beat the Yi family members, but were stopped by the law enforcement team who were maintaining order. Shen Wudao looked at Yi Zhanlong, who looked tired, and Yi Chen, who looked a little dazed, and felt relieved suddenly. Yes, so far, Yi Chen still can't accept the fact that the pill he refined turned into a poison pill. He also asked Aunt Mai, and Aunt Mai told him that it was possible that he was too focused on speed and didn't pay attention to quality, resulting in too much or too little medicinal materials, which caused the pill's effect to change from a healing pill to a poison pill. Because such a thing happened in Aunt Mai's era, when Yi Chen was refining pills, she also specifically reminded Yi Chen not to pursue speed too much without ensuring quality. Seeing that the situation was out of control, Shen Wudao said, "Everyone calm down. I know that some of your relatives have had accidents because of taking poison pills, but the dead cannot be resurrected. I can understand the pain of losing your children, husbands, wives. As the holy son of Taichu Holy Land, you can say that you are all my people. I am also very sad about this." He wiped away tears with his hands. Of course, he pretended. But think about it, is it really that simple? Why would the Yi family, which has been selling elixirs for hundreds of years, suddenly have so many poisonous elixirs? Is there any hidden story behind this? Or is someone deliberately framing them? Please think about it carefully. Of course, if someone deliberately framed the Yi family, I will punish them severely if I find out. If it is really a problem with the Yi family's own elixirs, I will also handle it impartially and give everyone an explanation. After hearing what Shen Wudao said, everyone thought about it carefully. They found that there were indeed many doubts about this matter. If it weren't for the Holy Son's reminder, they would fall into the pain of losing their loved ones and regard the Yi family as the culprit. If it wasn't the Yi family's fault, but someone else deliberately framed them, wouldn't the Yi family be more unlucky than them? because they lost their loved ones, while the Yi family lost their entire family. Everyone looked at Shen Wudao with even more passion and admiration. What a wise and just son of God. The Yi family was also shocked. They didn't expect that the saint son would speak for them. But then they remembered that these pills were made by Yi Chen himself, and they became discouraged. Because before this, Yi Chen had always said that there was no problem with the quality of the pills, and the clan leader Yi Zhanlong also said that there was no problem, so they did not test whether the pills were qualified. Now that there is a problem with the pill, they know without thinking that it is Yi Chen's problem, because before this they have never heard that Yi Chen can refine pills, and he has refined more than 10,000 pills in 6 days. Yi Chen also looked at Shen Wudao with surprise. He did not expect that Shen Wudao would actually speak for the Yi family. However, Aunt Mai in the ring had a better impression of Shen Wudao. How smart, calm, and fair is this son of Taichu? But when she thought of her apprentice's impulsive personality, his misunderstanding of Shen Wudao, and his disregard for her instructions and his pursuit of speed that led to the poisonous pill, she shook her head. Ding, there is a rift between Master Yi Chen and his apprentice, and 10 points of luck are plundered. Hearing the system's prompt, Shen Wudao smiled in his heart. Har har, today is the day you, Yi Chen, die. I'll see if I can't kill you. Shen Wudao signaled to the great elder Yi Zhantian with his eyes, and Yi Zhantian understood what he meant. Sir Saint, this really has nothing to do with the rest of our Yi family. These poison pills were made by Yi Zhanlong and his son. They swore that there was no problem with the quality of the pills and that they did not need to be inspected. That's why we sold them. Also, on the day of the accident, Yi Chen, who was refining the pills, had packed his bags and was ready to run away. Lord Saint. This really has nothing to do with the rest of us. This was all caused by Yi Chen and his son. We were so blind that we actually sold the pills made by Yi Chen, who had never been exposed to the alchemy technology. We were wronged, and Yi Chen refined more than 10,000 living spirit pills in just 6 days. How could the pills refined at this speed be without problems? Shen Wudao looked at the great elder Yi Zhantian with approval. What an amazing acting skill. At this time, Yi Chen stood up and said to Shen Wudao, Master Xingzi, I firmly believe that there is no problem with the elixir I refined. Someone must have framed our Yi family. Shen Wudao looked at Yi Chen, who was very excited, and said, in fact, since we last met, I knew that Master Yi had great ambitions and would not do something that would ruin his future. Although I believe in you, how can you prove yourself? Chapter 14, Yi Chen makes the elixir and communicates with Aunt Mai. Shen Wudao said, according to the general pill formation rate, a furnace of pills usually produces 30 to 70 pills, and it usually takes 2 to 3 hours to refine. According to your speed of refining more than 10,000 pills in 6 days, you can't refine that many pills even if you don't eat or drink. Unless you don't eat or drink in these 6 days, and you can refine a furnace of pills every half an hour, and the success rate reaches about 70 pills, but how is this possible? Everyone listened to Shen Wudao's analysis and felt that this was definitely impossible. Suddenly, their eyes changed when they looked at Yi Chen. It was a look of hatred, a look that wanted to kill. When Yi Chen felt the hateful looks from the people around him, he suddenly felt aggrieved, because in order to go out for training as soon as possible, he really went without food or drink for 6 days to refine the pills, and his pill refining speed was reduced to 1/3 of an hour. Looking at Yi Chen like this, Shen Wudao felt that the last straw that broke the camel's back was about to come. He said to Yi Chen, since you are so confident, then refine a furnace of elixirs within half an hour, because since ancient times, there have been cases where alchemists have used more or less medicinal materials in pursuit of speed, causing elixirs to become poisonous pills. If you can refine the elixir within half an hour and the efficacy is good, then I can believe that you are innocent, and the Yi family must have been wrongly accused. After all, doing this will not benefit your Yi family at all. I will also give your Yi family an explanation and continue to track down the real culprit. But you just said that the pills you refined are non-toxic, but it is also doubtful that you can refine so many pills in such a short time, so please refine the pills on the spot to prove yourself. Yi Chen felt that what Shen Wudao said made sense, so he nodded. But he confidently said to everyone, I know everyone suspected that I refined the elixir too quickly, causing the elixir to become a poisonous elixir. Today I will show you that there is no problem with the elixir I refined. And it only takes me 1/3 of an hour. Everyone was stunned when they heard Yi Chen's words, while Shen Wudao smiled sarcastically. Most of those who pretend to be cool end up being fools. Having said that, this son of luck is truly amazing. He is so talented in alchemy alone. He is truly the chosen one by God. While Yi Chen was preparing medicinal herbs, Shen Wudao put the locator on Yi Chen to prevent Yi Chen from running away in a rage and not being able to find him. Shen Wudao didn't want to waste any more time playing hide and seek with this useless protagonist. Yi Chen must die today. In a blink of an eye, Shen Wudao looked at the black and simple ring on Yi Chen's left ring finger. He smiled playfully and transmitted a voice into the ring. "Senior, can you come out and meet me? I have always been curious about what kind of person can improve Yi Chen from the middle stage of physical training to the late stage of foundation building in a short period of time, and also teach Yi Chen the good alchemy skills. Don't worry, Yi Chen is refining pills, he won't find out anything." At this moment, a faint white smoke flowed out of the ring and condensed into a human figure in front of Shen Wudao. What surprised Shen Wudao was that the golden finger turned out to be a middle-aged beautiful woman. She has long eyebrows, an oval face, rosy lips, a small nose, and a pair of phoenix eyes. Time has left traces on her eyes and forehead, but it has not diminished her beauty at all, but has made her more charming. It can be seen that she was extremely beautiful when she was young. When Shen Wudao saw her appear, he immediately cast a ban around her. Aunt Mai saw this and became more fond of Shen Wudao. She thought Shen Wudao didn't want Yi Chen to see their conversation and misunderstand their relationship. I have to say that the imagination is really powerful. In fact, Shen Wudao didn't want people to see him talking to the soul and cause panic. You know, in the eyes of these mortals, the soul is as scary as their ghosts, in the eyes of people in his previous life. As for what the golden finger thought, it was wrong. Although Shen Wudao's restriction avoided everyone, it did not avoid Yi Chen, who was working hard to refine the elixir. If Yi Chen, who was refining the elixir, accidentally saw his master talking and laughing with his enemy, with his impulsive personality, he would definitely not think, nor would he listen to the golden finger's explanation, but would directly break up with Aunt Mai. Of course, this is exactly what Shen Wudao expected. Chapter 15, Furious Yi Chen, the official break between master and disciple. "May I know what your name is, senior?" Shen Wudao asked respectfully. "You are too polite, saint. My name is Mai Ruolan, and I am a casual cultivator. I failed in my attempt to become a god, and only a wisp of my soul remains, living in the storage ring I carry with me, so I have survived until now. Could it be that senior is their fairy plum from 3,000 years ago?" Aunt Mai smiled when she heard this. "You didn't find the saint's son, who is just a little known person, but you have heard of him. I'm sorry to make you laugh." Shen Wudao was shocked when he heard this. "What do you mean by a mere name?" Although Fairy Mai was a casual cultivator 3,000 years ago, she was also a figure that amazed the world and was a remarkable woman at that time. It is said that my fairy was famous all over the world. Any beauty or daughter of heaven would pale in comparison to her. Countless bigwigs wanted to marry her, but my fairy was untainted by the mud and had always been self-reliant. Her integrity made countless people admire her. What's even more terrifying is that Fairy Mai's attainments in elixirs are extremely high. Some people say that she can refine 9th grade elixirs, and some even say that she can refine divine elixirs above 9th grade. It's a pity that Fairy Mai suddenly died 3,000 years ago, which made countless people feel sorry for her. "Senior Mai, you are too polite. It is my honor to meet you today." Shen Wudao respected Mai Ruolan in his heart, because in this Shenwu continent where men are strong and women are weak, it is very rare for a woman to be as independent, self-reliant, self-respecting and self-loving as Mai Ruolan. Mai Ruolan looked at the polite Shen Wudao and nodded in satisfaction. But she also had some questions. "I wonder how the Holy Sun found me. Senior Mai and I have a destiny. Do you believe it?" Shen Wudao was speechless. "He couldn't tell you that I knew the plot, because you would definitely not believe it." Mai Ruolan smiled at Shen Wudao and said, "Is their Holy Sun teasing me?" Shen Wudao looked at Mai Ruolan, who was eager to know the truth, and could only sigh secretly. Alas, this common way of picking up girls, "We were destined to be together in the previous life," doesn't work for a smart woman like Mai Ruolan. "Senior Mai, the truth is actually very simple. If Yi Chen didn't have a powerful master, how could he improve so quickly in such a short period of time with the strength of the Yi family? Also, Yi Chen has never asked anyone for advice on alchemy, but he suddenly learned how to make pills. Doesn't this make people suspicious? I also noticed that Yi Chen often stared at the ring on his left hand, and sometimes he seemed to be communicating. Combining all this, it is easy to discover the existence of the senior, and he is living in the ring." Mai Ruolan looked at Shen Wudao, who was analyzing things very clearly, and felt his excellence even more. He is very thoughtful and observant. Actually, there is something I don't understand. I hope you can help me solve it. My Ruolan smiled and said, "Is there anything that even the Holy Sun doesn't understand?" The junior dared to say, "It has been said since ancient times that good birds choose trees to inhabit. Why did Senior Mai choose Yi Chen? If Senior Mai could choose me, wouldn't it be better?" Looking at Shen Wudao, who looked sincere, my Ruolan said with sadness, "I have been sleeping in the ring for more than 3,000 years. It was thanks to Yi Chen that I woke up. It can be said that Yi Chen saved my life. Following him and teaching him is also a way to repay his kindness. But Senior, the way to repay a favor doesn't necessarily mean to stay by his side and teach him. There are many ways. If you can follow me, I can give Yi Chen countless natural treasures, elixirs, and I can also hire a good teacher for Yi Chen. More importantly, I can help you reshape your body, so that you can eat like a normal person, practice, and live uprightly under the sun." "Really? Can you help me reshape my body?" "Of course, Senior. I promise to help you rebuild your body within 3 months. Almost all the materials are ready now. I have also found the most important 1,000-year-old lotus root. As long as Senior Mai follows me, I will personally take it and rebuild your body for you." My Ruolan was somewhat tempted. It seemed that the Holy Sun had been prepared for a long time, but she said hesitantly, "Let me talk to Yi Chen about this first." "Don't worry, Senior. I will tell Yi Chen in person. You don't have to go back into the ring. This is the soul-nourishing jade I prepared specially for you. It is very effective in nourishing the soul and is very beneficial to you." My Ruolan looked at Shen Wudao, who was so considerate and knew that if she refused again she would hurt Shen Wudao's heart, so she smiled and said to Shen Wudao, "Thank you, Holy Sun, you are so thoughtful." Then she turned into a pair of white eyes and entered the soul-nourishing jade. Feeling her own soul being constantly nourished, my Ruolan couldn't help but sigh that Shen Wudao was really too meticulous. My Ruolan was chatting and laughing with Shen Wudao, and finally entered the soul-nourishing divine jade. She happened to be seen by Yi Chen, who had just finished refining the elixir. He clenched his hands, his eyes widened with anger, veins popping out. Did his master betray him too? And it was his most hated enemy. This was simply unforgivable. Ding, Yi Chen and my Ruolan have completely broken up, plundering 30 points of luck. Attention, the host can now kill the Son of Luck. Chapter 16. Yi Chen is speechless and my Ruolan is disappointed. "Holy Sun, my pill is ready. Can we test it now?" Yi Chen shouted angrily at Shen Wudao. When Shen Wudao saw Yi Chen's angry look, he suddenly felt relieved. He came to Yi Chen, looked at the pill in the furnace, and took advantage of Yi Chen's inattention to gently wave his left hand at the pill, then said to everyone seriously, "Yi Chen refined the pill within 1/3 of an hour. I see that the appearance of the pill is round and full, consistent with the appearance of the pills I usually take. There should be no problem. Is there any other hidden story about this poisonous pill?" Just when everyone was wondering, someone suddenly shouted, "Son of God, don't be fooled by the appearance of the pill. You must know that just because it looks good doesn't mean it is non-toxic." Everyone hurriedly agreed. "How about this, bring some drug-testing beast mice." Under the gaze of everyone, the 5 little white mice took the pill, and they became full of energy. Seeing this, Yi Chen breathed a sigh of relief. His innocence was finally proven. Just when everyone thought that the Yi family was wrongly accused, suddenly the 5 little white mice foamed at the mouth and twitched all over. After a while, they all died. Everyone looked at the fallen little white mouse in shock, and immediately realized that the so-called false accusation against the Yi family was completely false, and all this was caused by the problem with the pills refined by Yi Chen. Faced with the irrefutable evidence, Yi Chen collapsed to the ground powerlessly, muttering, "How is this possible? How is this possible?" My Ruolan in the soul-nurturing divine jade sighed helplessly after seeing this result. Sigh, she didn't know how Shen Wudao would deal with Yi Chen. After all, he was her savior. If possible, she didn't want Yi Chen to die. Shen Wudao looked at the destitute Yi Chen, and then said to everyone, "The matter has been clarified. The pills refined by Yi Chen did have problems. I will escort the Yi family to the Taichu Holy Land for trial and give everyone a perfect explanation. And my Taichu Holy Land will also compensate you, with each family receiving 20 low-grade spirit stones. If anyone bullies you in the future, you can go to Taichu Holy Land. Taichu Holy Land will support you." As soon as Shen Wudao finished speaking, the crowd exploded. "Oh my God, 20 low-grade spirit stones, I can't spend them all in my lifetime. You have to know that ordinary people use gold coins, and one low-grade spirit stone can be exchanged for 10,000 gold coins. An ordinary person only spends a few hundred gold coins a year at most. It can be seen that Shen Wudao's compensation is huge this time. Everyone thanked Shen Wudao in unison for his great kindness, and Shen Wudao ordered the law enforcement team to escort the Yi family to the Taichu Holy Land to await the final decision. As for why the pills Yi Chen refined turned into poison pills, it was all thanks to the colorless destructive powder. Their holy son is truly kind-hearted and a blessing to the common people at the bottom. Senior Mai, you are too kind. I just did what I should do. Feeling that Mai Ruolan was a little absent-minded, Shen Wudao said again, Senior, don't worry. After all, Yi Chen is your savior. I will not kill him, but everyone in the Yi family must die. After all, blood must be repaid with blood. Hearing Shen Wudao's assurance, Mai Ruolan sighed secretly. At least Yi Chen was still alive. Alas, but the mistake he made was too big. Even if he was alive, could he still feel at ease? Sensing Mai Ruolan's inner turmoil, Shen Wudao was ready to change the subject. He said, I wonder if the senior is interested in taking in another disciple. My junior sister is also my childhood sweetheart. She is also good at refining pills and has always highly respected you. I wonder if you could give her some pointers. My illness is serious. The Holy Son will rebuild my body for me. This is a great favor, and I have no way to repay it. I can still do my best to teach a disciple. Senior Mai, you are too modest. It is my great honor to have you as my follower. Suddenly, the note transmitting sound flashed. Holy Son, I failed to escort him properly. Yi Chen killed 4 members of the law enforcement team and escaped. We have sent people to hunt him down. Holy Son, please punish me. Forget it, stop chasing Yi Chen and escort all the members of the Yi family to the Taichu Holy Land. Shen Wudao said lightly to the sound transmission note. After Mai Ruolan heard that Yi Chen had killed someone and escaped, she became even more disappointed with him. The mistakes he made were getting bigger and bigger. Shen Wudao had a blank expression on his face, as if he didn't care at all, but he looked towards the north with a strange smile on his face. Chapter 17. Wana becomes a disciple and searches for the 1,000-year-old lotus root. Why doesn't the Holy Son continue to hunt down Yi Chen? The mistakes made by my disciple are getting bigger and bigger. Senior Mai, have you forgotten? I just promised you not to kill Yi Chen. As far as I am concerned, I don't care whether Yi Chen is alive or dead. What I care about is your feelings. After all, he is your disciple. It doesn't matter if he ran away. Whether he lives or dies in the future is up to his own fate. Shen Wudao said with a relaxed look. Besides, how to deal with Yi Chen is also a troublesome matter. If he runs away, it will save me a lot of trouble. Mai Ruolan couldn't help but be moved when she heard Shen Wudao's heartfelt words. He always thought of her and even let go of Yi Chen, who was extremely guilty of heinous crimes. What a broad mind he had. She said no more and kept this touching moment deeply in her heart. Har har, just let him run a little longer. When he gets tired, that's when he'll die. Taichu Holy Land, Wana's residence. Brother Wudao, how come you have time to come to see Wana today? Is there something going on? Isn't it okay for me to come and see my Wana when I have time? If you don't like me, I will leave immediately. No, I'm so happy that I can't wait to see what's going on. She then took Shen Wudao's left hand and shook it, pouting her little mouth a little, looking like a spoiled child. If Shen Wudao had not seen her big, clear eyes rolling cunningly, he would have been bewildered by her pitiful appearance. Unfortunately, Zhao Wana is just such a person. In the eyes of outsiders, she is delicate and weak, and looks pitiful. But when she is with Shen Wudao in private, she shows a bit of coquettishness and liveliness. Shen Wudao likes Zhao Wana in this state very much, because he also finds it very interesting. Okay Wana, do you remember that I told you last time that I would help you find a master? Of course I remember. Brother Wudao said that my talent for alchemy is too high, and the alchemists in the Holy Land will not be able to teach me for long. Did Brother Wudao help me find my master? Where is she? Zhao Wana twisted her little head and looked around. Looking at Zhao Wana's lovely appearance, Shen Wudao shook his head helplessly, and said to Mai Ruolan in the soul-nourishing divine jade, Senior, you'd better show up. In Zhao Wana's stunned eyes, Mai Ruolan appeared in front of her. Zhao Wana looked at the middle-aged beauty in front of her with surprise, and said to Shen Wudao with a puzzled look on her face, Brother Wudao, is this my master? Shen Wudao had long guessed the question in Wana's mind, and replied, "This is the plum fairy from 3,000 years ago, my Ruolan. Due to various reasons, only her soul is left. But you can rest assured, her alchemy skills are unparalleled in the world, and I am confident that I can reshape her body within 3 months. Isn't it okay for her to be your master? Is she the fairy Mai? Have I finally met my idol today?" Seeing Zhao Wana's shocked and excited expression, Shen Wudao suddenly thought of the word star chasing. Alas, because Zhao Wana had a very high talent for alchemy, she also learned about some alchemy masters from ancient times to the present, and Mai Ruolan was undoubtedly the one she admired the most. Mai Ruolan quietly looked at the slightly frail Zhao Wana in front of her. She nodded with great satisfaction and said to Shen Wudao, "Son, this girl is indeed very talented in alchemy. Her soul power is much higher than that of ordinary people, and her physique is also a fire attribute with a strong wood attribute. This is a good seedling for alchemy." Shen Wudao was not surprised at all when he heard Mai Ruolan's high evaluation of Zhao Wana. Nonsense, if she is not talented, how could she become a 4th-grade alchemist at such a young age? Then Wana will trouble you for your instruction. Don't worry, I will set out immediately to get the 1,000-year-old lotus root and will help you rebuild your body within March. Son, don't be too anxious. I have already waited for 3,000 years. It won't hurt to wait a few more years. A gentleman's word is as good as his bond. I will definitely keep my promise, Shen Wudao said firmly. He then said to Zhao Wana, who was still immersed in excitement, "This is the soul-nourishing divine jade that Senior Mai is currently staying in. You must keep it safe. Also, I have to go out to look for 10,000-year-old lotus roots recently, so you may not see me for a while. Don't miss me." Zhao Wana nodded absent-mindedly. When Shen Wudao walked away, she finally came to her senses from her excitement. What? Brother Wudao is going out. Oh, why didn't I ask him if he could take me with him? After saying that, she knocked her head in annoyance, with a look of regret on her face. Mai Ruolan smiled thoughtfully. Holy Land Temple. Father, Mother, I'm going out for a while. Dour baby, where are you going? If it's too dangerous, don't go. Liu Qinghe asked in an unusually serious tone. Seeing his mother caring about him so much, Shen Wudao felt a warm feeling in his heart. Mother, this time I am going to the sacred land of Yaokai to get the 1,000-year-old lotus root. I shouldn't encounter any danger. Hey, you are going to the Yaokai Holy Land, so there shouldn't be any big problems, but the 1,000-year-old lotus root is not so easy to get. Mother, I have confidence in myself. By the way, do you want me to inform your cousin Ruoshua to receive you? She is now the saint of Yaokai Holy Land. I saw her when I went back to my parents' home some time ago. She even asked why you didn't come with her. She is one of the wives I reserved for you. I think if you let her receive you, you two can have a chance to exchange feelings. When Shen Wudao heard the word cousin, he shuddered all over. If he were to say who he feared the most, this cousin would undoubtedly be ranked first. This cousin, who was born a few days later than him, was not ugly or cruel. On the contrary, she was very beautiful, otherwise she would not have become the saint of Kai Yao Holy Land and had extremely high talent. But she is an out-and-out witch. Alas, recalling the situation at that time, Shen Wudao, who had lived 2 lives as a human, was no match for his cousin Liu Ruoshua. Alas, it's all tears if I talk too much. At this time, Shen Yu spoke. How about this? You can bring some gifts to the Saint Lord of Yaokai after all. You can't go empty-handed to get the 1,000-year-old lotus root, one of the 3 treasures of the Yaokai Holy Land. Oh, and please also say hello to the Saint Lord of Yaokai for me. Liu Qinghe on the side said sourly, I still can't forget my old lover. Qinghe, don't you know my feelings for you? Although I liked her at that time, I rarely contacted her since that incident. But it's been so many years, why don't you believe me? Shen Yu's pale and weak voice of explanation was suddenly heard from the hall. Shen Wudao tactfully withdrew, thinking to himself, alas, this cheap dad had quite a few romantic affairs when he was young. Chapter 18, Yi Chen's Death, Goodbye Cousin. After packing up his luggage, Shen Wudao set off because the Yaokai Holy Land was too far away and he had to take the teleportation array. But before that, he should also deal with Yi Chen. It was a dark night again. The bright moon was obscured by dark clouds from time to time. It was quiet all around, and only the sound of the wind could be heard. As the old saying goes, on a dark and windy night, murder and arson are the times. Looking at the towering mountains before him, Shen Wudao said to himself with a hint of sarcasm, "he's really good at hiding." Following the induction of the locator, he finally found a cave. "It's difficult for you to hide in such a small cave." After saying that, Shen Wudao stretched out his right palm and gently clapped it. Suddenly, a big palm print fell from the sky. This was the Earth-level high-level fighting skill, the heaven-covering palm, that he used to kill Yi Qiu. The whole mountain was shaken violently, and countless rocks slid down from the top of the mountain. At this moment, a disheveled figure ran out of the cave. Yi Chen looked at Shen Wudao with angry eyes. He was hiding like this, why could he still find this place? He was very puzzled. He wanted to know the answer, but he didn't care about it, because he wanted to run, he wanted to survive. Shen Wudao's arrival had already explained everything. He came to kill him. Looking at Yi Chen, who was running away like a clown, Shen Wudao directly used his heaven-covering palm to knock Yi Chen into a pulp. Yi Chen, who was covered in blood and twitching constantly, could no longer get up. Shen Wudao couldn't help but be secretly surprised to see that Yi Chen could actually withstand a heaven-covering palm. He was indeed the son of destiny, his vitality was so strong. However, Shen Wudao laughed and said, "If one palm is not enough, what about 2 or 3 palms?" Boom, boom, boom. For a moment, the earth shook and the sky darkened. After bombarding Yi Chen for more than 10 consecutive times, Shen Wudao nodded with satisfaction as he looked at Yi Chen, whose soul was annihilated and not even a trace of him was left. Ding, congratulations to their host for killing Yi Chen, the son of luck, and taking away 50 points of luck and 1 million villain points. I hope their host will keep up the good work. Upon hearing the 1 million villain points, Shen Wudao was shocked, there were so many of them. Looking at the current total of 1.02 million villain points, the other 1.7 million villain points were obtained by killing the entire Yi family. Because he is related to Yi Chen, he can get villain points and make it a whole number. I don't want to write the protagonist as a person who kills innocent people indiscriminately, such as massacring ordinary people to gain villain points, etc. Shen Wudao sighed in his heart, killing the protagonist is indeed the best way to earn villain points. As for the people of the Yi family, Shen Wudao had already ordered Zhao Yi to kill them all. After all, blood must be repaid with blood, even if all this was planned by Shen Wudao. As for the eldest elder of the Yi family, Har, Shen Wudao didn't remember what he promised him. "See you, holy son. Where will you be teleported to?" Looking at the respectful look of the disciple guarding him, Shen Wudao said calmly, "Teleport me to the city closest to the Yaokai Holy Land." Yaokai City is the gateway to the Yaokai Holy Land, and it is also the place where Shen Wudao was teleported to. Shen Wudao was walking on the street with great interest. Seeing the bustling crowd on the street, he couldn't help but think of the scene of accompanying his girlfriend shopping in his previous life. Forget it, I am no longer Wang Yang, let the past go with the wind. Suddenly, there was a commotion on the street. Shen Wudao stopped a woman who was standing aside and asked, "Excuse me, young lady, what happened?" The woman wanted to get angry, but when she saw Shen Wudao's handsome appearance, she was stunned for a moment. Shen Wudao suddenly laughed, "What a damn charm." Fortunately, the woman reacted quickly. She explained to Shen Wudao, "Today is the day when the saint of Yaokai returns to the holy land of Yaokai after training outside. According to the time, she will arrive in our Yaokai city soon." Shen Wudao's face suddenly became interesting when he heard this. He didn't want to run into this cousin. Just as he was about to run away, he suddenly heard a pleasant voice with obvious surprise, followed by a gust of fragrant wind. The girl in front of him was absolutely beautiful, with skin as white as cream, a slender waist that could be held in one hand, long hair draped over her shoulders, a perfect oval face, and a pleated night palace dress with flowers. She had curved eyebrows, a small nose, and small red lips, especially her smart and cunning eyes, which added a touch of spirituality. "Hello, cousin," Shen Wudao said with embarrassment. "Humph, I'm not good. It's been more than a year since you came to see me." As he said this, he hugged Shen Wudao's arms with both hands, and then moved his body closer. Feeling the soft jade in his arms, especially the softness of his arms, Shen Wudao's blood suddenly surged up. "Well, cousin, actually this time I came to." "Cousin, don't pull me, don't pull me." Before Shen Wudao could finish his words, he had already been pulled into their sedan chair by Liu Ruoxue. The crowd watching envied Shen Wudao. What is the origin of that boy? Why is the saint so close to him? I wish I could be like that too. Come on, don't you look at what you look like. In the sedan chair. So my cousin came here for the 1,000-year-old lotus root instead of coming to see me. I'm so angry. After saying this, she pouted her lips slightly, as if she was angry. Suddenly, she said pitifully with tears in her eyes, "It turns out that in my cousin's heart, I am not even as good as the 1,000-year-old lotus root. It's ridiculous that I have been missing my cousin all the time in this year, but my cousin doesn't think of me at all." After that, she threw herself into Shenwudao's arms and cried. Shenwudao was overwhelmed when he saw the sad drama directed and acted by this little witch. If someone else treated him like this, he would have slapped her long ago. But he had no way to deal with this cousin. After all, he couldn't hit her. If he scolded her, she would cry even harder. Shenwudao suppressed the impulse in his heart. He gently patted Liu Ruoshua's shoulder and comforted her. "In my heart, my cousin is more important than the 1,000-year-old lotus root. This time when I came here, my mother specially asked me to communicate with you more." "Really?" Liu Ruoshua burst into laughter, with a cunning look in her eyes. "Of course it's true. How could my cousin lie to you?" Seeing that the little witch finally stopped making trouble, Shenwudao secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He secretly sighed in his heart, "The little witch is worthy of being a little witch." Chapter 19, Meet the Holy Lord of Yaokai and take the 1,000-year-old lotus root. Yaokai City is very close to Yaokai Holy Land, but Shenwudao feels it is very far away. He didn't understand why Liu Ruoshua didn't travel by flying vehicle but chose to take a sedan chair, but her answer was, "It's more fun to take a sedan chair." This left Shenwudao speechless. What made Shenwudao even more unbearable was that Liu Ruoshua had no reserve of a saint at all when she saw him and she pressed her body directly against him. Shenwudao had a beautiful woman in his arms, and Liu Ruoshua was even more beautiful. Shenwudao almost turned into a wild beast and ran away, but his reason told him that Liu Ruoshua must be playing tricks on him again, because this kind of thing has happened more than once. Thinking back to the past, Shenwudao's face was full of tears. Finally, they arrived at the Yaokai Holy Land. The liberated Shenwudao heaved a long sigh of relief, which made Liu Ruoshua beside him giggle. After arriving at the Holy Land, Liu Ruoshua finally put on the attitude of a saint. Facing the greetings of the disciples, she only nodded occasionally. Looking at Liu Ruoshua, who had a serious face and kept strangers away, Shenwudao felt as if he had seen a ghost. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Women change their faces faster than turning the pages of a book. Yaokai Holy Land, Yaokai Hall. Looking at the beautiful middle-aged woman in front of him, Shenwudao was still unable to react for a moment. She was so beautiful. She was so beautiful. She stood proudly, as if a fairy had descended to the earth. People dared not look directly at her. She was wearing a white palace dress, with long hair cascading down, a white shirt like a flower, and a beautiful and cold complexion. She was indescribably beautiful and elegant, noble and extraordinary. Shenwudao sighed inwardly, as expected of my cheap dad's old lover, she is truly the most beautiful woman in the world. The junior Shenwudao pays homage to the Holy Lord, and wishes the Holy Lord good health and happiness. "You are his son, right? You really look like him. Tell me, what's the business of coming to my Yaokai Holy Land?" A cold voice reached Shenwudao's ears. When Shenwudao heard this, he felt that things were in trouble. Why did it feel like something was wrong? Why didn't the Holy Lord like him at all? When he thought that she was his father's old lover, he felt relieved. He thought that his cheap father had betrayed her before, and Shenwudao was the child of another woman. It would be strange if she was not angry. But our clever son of God immediately thought of a way to make up for it. "Holy Lord, my father asked me to come and visit you this time for no other purpose. He also asked me to bring some gifts to greet you. He said that he has let you down over the years and he feels very guilty. I'm sorry, my cheap dad. For the sake of the 1,000-year-old lotus root, I have to sacrifice you." Shenwudao said secretly in his heart. Har har, why didn't he come to see me all these years? Is it because my good senior sister has been keeping a tight control over him? There was endless resentment in her words, but when she heard Shenwudao's words, she actually smiled slightly. It turned out that women really fall for this kind of thing. Shenwudao heard that there was something interesting going on, and continued, "Senior, you misunderstood. My mother also misses you very much. She has often mentioned you to me." "What did my good senior sister mention about me?" "My mother said that you care about the overall situation and are sensible, unlike her who only cares about herself." She also said that her happiness is built on your pain, and she is very sorry for you. Har har, I'm really surprised that my senior sister would say such a thing. The Holy Lord of Yaokai said with a smile. It's absolutely true. My mother did say that about you. At this moment, Shen Wudao only hoped that Liu Qinghe would not skin him alive after knowing it. However, thinking about how much Liu Qinghe doted on him, he shook his head and thought that it probably wouldn't happen. Har har, stop being so slick, kid. Tell me, what is the purpose of your visit to my Yaokai Holy Land this time? I am really just visiting you on behalf of my father, there is no other intention. Shen Wudao said, firmly. Okay, since you've already seen it, you can go. Shen Wudao was shocked when he heard this. Why didn't this woman play by the rules? Helplessly, Shen Wudao had to tell the purpose of this trip. Yes, Holy Lord, I came here to get the 10,000-year-old lotus root. You're finally willing to tell the truth. Does that mean everything you said before was a lie? No, what I said before is also true. How dare I lie to you? Forget it. It's not that I can't give you the 1,000-year-old lotus root, but it depends on your luck. Ruoshue, accompany her to Yaokai to look for the 1,000-year-old lotus root. Remember, if you don't find it within 2 months, Yaokai will be closed, and you won't have a chance. Looking at Shen Wudao walking out of the hall, Yaokai Saint Lord muttered to himself, they look exactly like him. Shen Wudao secretly felt sorry for Yaokai Saint Lord. Back then, his mother and Yaokai Saint Lord both fell in love with father. When father was about to marry them, the previous Yaokai Saint Lord disagreed. Because they have the highest talents among all the disciples, one of them must inherit the Yaokai Holy Land. The Holy Lord of Yaokai considers the overall situation and knows the big picture. She chose to inherit the Yaokai Holy Land, and the price is to take care of the Yaokai Holy Land and never marry. In Shen Wudao's opinion, the rules of the Yaokai Holy Land are too weird. He has to find an opportunity to help the poor Yaokai Holy Land master. After all, he also hopes that lovers will eventually get married. Along the way, Liu Ruoshue turned into a little witch again. She held Shen Wudao's left hand with both hands and swayed aimlessly, occasionally whispering in Shen Wudao's ear. Of course, physical contact was also inevitable, which made Shen Wudao quite helpless. Hee, cousin, I can accompany you again, are you happy? Happy, very happy. Shen Wudao thought to himself, why should I be happy? Someone come and save me. The two of them talked and laughed all the way and finally arrived at Yaokai. Chapter 20 Yaokai, Red Lotus. The reason why the Yaokai Holy Land is called the Yaokai Holy Land is largely because of Yaokai. At that time, the ancestor of Yaokai discovered that the area around Yaokai was surrounded by fairy air, the sound of the great way was lingering, the mist was hazy, and the spiritual energy was abundant, so he founded a sect here. It has been more than 10,000 years since then. Of course, Yaokai is most famous for its lotus flowers and lotus leaves, which are nourished by holy water which is made of rich spiritual energy in the form of droplets. The lotus flowers and lotus leaves, which have been nurtured for thousands of years, are extremely spiritual. Even though they are being quietly nurtured in the jade pool, if you want to get their lotus seeds or lotus roots, it would be wishful thinking if you don't get their approval. Cousin, come down quickly and look for the 1,000-year-old lotus root. Looking at Liu Ruoshue, who had rolled up her skirt to reveal her calves as white as jade, Shen Wudao shook his head helplessly. Alas, I haven't found it again. Did you find it, cousin? I don't know if it was because of good luck or what, but Shen Wudao suddenly touched a 1,000-year-old lotus root. Looking at the 1,000-year-old lotus root in his hand, Shen Wudao felt it was so easy, there was no challenge at all. Carefully putting the lotus root into the storage ring, Shen Wudao said to Liu Ruoshue, cousin, I found it, let's go back. How come it's so fast, cousin? I want to play more. Cousin, please stay with me for a while. I also want to find lotus roots. Looking at the little witch who was acting coquettishly again, Shen Wudao looked helpless. Suddenly, Shen Wudao discovered a unique lotus. Unlike other white lotuses, it was a blood-red lotus. The blood lotus stood quietly in the center of the Yaokai, out of tune with the surrounding environment. Shen Wudao felt that the blood lotus was calling him, and he couldn't help but walk towards it. After Liu Ruoshue, who was standing next to him, noticed something was wrong, she also followed Shen Wudao and slowly walked towards the blood lotus. Cousin, have you seen this blood lotus before? Shen Wudao asked. No, I've never seen it before. How come it suddenly appeared? Liu Ruoxue answered with a puzzled look. At this moment, Shen Wudao suddenly thought of a saying, opportunity is for those who are destined to get it. And he is this destined person. He carefully came to the blood lotus, and looking at the beautiful pattern formed by the blood-red petals, he could not help but be fascinated. He touched the blood-red petals, and suddenly the world suddenly changed, and Liu Ruoxue beside him screamed. R. After a long time, Shen Wudao felt as if his chest was blocked by something. The air around him was very hot, and waves of heat came towards him, which made Shen Wudao very uncomfortable. He gently pushed Liu Ruoxue, who was pressing on him, and Liu Ruoxue let out a moan, then said with a puzzled look on her face, "Cousin, where are we? Why is it so hot?" As she spoke, she pulled her clothes at her chest, revealing a large area of snow-white skin. This made Shen Wudao's blood surge again, but he still suppressed the impulse in his heart. He stood up, looked around and said, "If I'm not mistaken, we should be in the world inside the lotus." When Liu Ruoxue heard that they were in the world inside the lotus, she was so scared that she hugged Shen Wudao with both hands and hid behind him pretending to be scared. "Cousin, will we be unable to get out? Will we die?" Shen Wudao immediately sighed. The little devil who is fearless is actually afraid of death. There is always someone who can defeat you. Don't worry, we'll be fine with your cousin here. Shen Wudao gave Liu Ruoxue a reassuring look. But Liu Ruoxue smiled and said after hearing this, "I believe my cousin. Besides, it would be a very happy thing for me to die with my cousin." Shen Wudao felt that this little witch had a very strange way of thinking. The two of them walked in the hot corridor. Facing the rolling heat waves, Liu Ruoxue was already sweating profusely, and Shen Wudao was not in a very good condition either. Why is it so hot? Is there some strange fire? Shen Wudao couldn't help but think of the strange fire in the novels of his previous life. Although there are 18 kinds of strange fire in this world, Shen Wudao didn't care too much about it. First, there is no unique skill called burning technique that can absorb multiple kinds of strange fire and thus improve strength. Second, the rankings of the strange fires known to Shen Wudao are too low, which is tantamount to chicken ribs for Shen Wudao, who can only absorb one kind of strange fire without burning technique. It must be said that our great son of God has a very high vision. However, thinking that Zhao Wana needed fire to refine the elixir, Shen Wudao made up his mind to help her get a strange fire next time. This way, she would be able to refine the elixir more easily. The two of them kept walking along the corridor and finally saw the end. Chapter 21, The Red Lotus Karma Fire appears and is refined. Finally reaching the end, Shen Wudao discovered a blood lotus that was as tall as a person. The petals of the blood lotus seemed to be carved from perfect blood jade, crystal clear and emitting luster. And in the middle of the pistil, there is a liquid flame flowing, which changes its appearance from time to time, as if it is a naughty elf. Suddenly, it changes its appearance again, and this time it is a demon lotus. Looking at the bewitching demon lotus in front of him, Shen Wudao suddenly became excited. His heart was pounding, because this was the Red Lotus Karma Fire. Red Lotus Karma Fire, one of the 10 original fires of prehistoric times, it can be said to be the ancestor of all fires in the world. It does not belong to the strange fire of this world, but the original fire, which is countless times more powerful than the strange fire. Legend has it that the Red Lotus Fire is a divine fire that is specifically used to burn the evil spirits of hell. Once the Red Lotus Fire appears, the heaven and earth will suddenly change, and a blood lotus will be born, which can burn all things in the world. Shen Wudao had only one thought at this time, to refine the Red Lotus Karma Fire. Liu Ruoxue, who was standing next to him, saw Shen Wudao with a burning face. She shook Shen Wudao's arm and asked with concern, "Cousin, you don't want to refine this lotus fire, do you? Is there any danger?" "It's okay, cousin. You have to trust your cousin. You stay here for a while. I will be able to refine this Red Lotus Karma Fire right away." After hearing this, Liu Ruoxue walked aside obediently. Shen Wudao looked at the dynamic flame in the pistil. He knew that this was the original fire of the Red Lotus Karma Fire. System, I want to refine the Red Lotus Fire and buy the things I need directly with villain points. Ding, spend 20,000 villain points to buy the Vein Protection Pill. Ding, spend 50,000 villain points to buy the Blood Lotus Pill. Ding, spend 50,000 villain points to buy the Advanced Soul Collection Pill. Ding, spend 100,000 villain points to buy the Ice Spring Water. Ding, spend 100,000 villain points to buy the Soul Protection Pill. Ding, spend 300,000 to buy a Drop of Water of Life. Purchase completed, total cost of 620,000 villain points. Currently the host has 400,000 villain points left. Hearing that 620,000 villain points were spent, Shen Wudao was not reluctant at all, because the value of the red lotus karma fire was far from immeasurable. The so-called refining of a certain kind of flame is first to absorb the soul into the body. It is equivalent to a container for holding flames. When the flame is used, it will automatically open to release the flame. The ice spring water is used to prevent the flame temperature from being too high, otherwise directly refining the flame may cause the refiner to be reduced to ashes. As the name suggests, the Meridian Protection Pill and the Snow Lotus Pill are pills that protect the meridians and regenerate blood and flesh. The soul protecting pill is to protect one's own soul. You must know that the red lotus karma fire is the divine fire that burns the evil spirits in hell. It has the unique function of burning the soul. The water of life ensures that the refiner's body functions can be quickly restored after the refining is completed. Shen Wudao first absorbed the spiritual energy into his dantian, then he took the meridian protecting pill, and then he took the ice spring water. The moment he took the ice spring water, Shen Wudao felt like he was standing naked in a world of ice. Fortunately, he took the meridian protecting pill to ensure the smooth flow of blood in his meridians, otherwise he would probably be frozen to death by the ice spring water. Then, he carefully swallowed the origin of the red lotus fire in front of him into his body, and immediately the blood in his body became like burning magma. The origin fire flowed in his blood, and wherever it went, the meridians withered. The effect of the ice spring water was manifested, and it met the origin fire in the blood. They were constantly fighting, and neither of them would give in. At this moment, Shen Wudao took the snow lotus pill, and his meridians and flesh that were destroyed by the origin fire slowly grew out. At the same time, Shen Wudao's soul was also burned, and his head seemed to be about to explode. Shen Wudao hurriedly took the soul protection pill, and the pressure on his soul was immediately reduced. While the two forces in the meridians were still fighting, Shen Wudao used his mind to slowly merge the two forces, one cold and one hot. Finally, with Shen Wudao's efforts, the two forces were finally completely merged. They happily swam throughout Shen Wudao's limbs and bones, but this did not mean success. Only when the original fire is introduced into the soul can it be considered a real success. Shen Wudao carefully led the origin fire to the vicinity of Dantian. The origin fire curiously lingered near Nailing, but would not go in. Shen Wudao was so anxious that he was sweating profusely, so he made a decision to force the origin fire into Nailing. He took the water of life and suddenly his whole body was full of energy. Little by little, he lured the origin fire slowly towards Nailing. Suddenly, Shen Wudao increased the pressure sharply, and the origin fire, which was unable to react for a while, was unwillingly stuffed into Nailing. Finally the refining was successful. Chapter 22, Something Strange Happened. Cousin, will you be responsible for me? Before Shen Wudao felt the joy of refining the red lotus karma fire, a powerful force suddenly surged out of his body. This force was not under his control at all, as if it was about to break out of his body. He thought to himself that this was not good. This was the energy accumulated by the red lotus karma fire over the years. If it was not released, he would be in danger of exploding. Shen Wudao's eyes gradually turned blood red, and his skin also turned red due to bearing too much energy. His wits were disappearing bit by bit. Cousin, what's wrong with you? Don't scare me. Liu Ruoxue, who was standing next to him, looked at Shen Wudao, who was not right. She couldn't help shouting, her eyes full of anxiety and worry. Hearing Liu Ruoxue's voice, Shen Wudao ran towards her as if he saw his prey, and the only bit of rationality he had left disappeared. Seeing Shen Wudao rushing towards her, Liu Ruoxue instinctively wanted to dodge, but the gap in strength was too great, and she was eventually pinned to the ground by Shen Wudao. Shen Wudao tore off the girl's clothes as roughly as a wild beast, revealing a large area of white. Liu Ruoxue shouted helplessly, trying to awaken Shen Wudao's wits, but it was of no use. He mercilessly ravaged the girl's body. After a long time, he could still hear the girl's faint sobs. After a long time, Shen Wudao woke up slowly. He looked at the miserable girl in his arms, and suddenly a sense of guilt surged in his heart. The girl's body was covered with scratches and bruises, her hair was disheveled, and there was not a single piece of intact skin on her body. Looking at her face with tears on it as she slept, Shen Wudao's heart was deeply touched. He brought a drop of water of life and gave it to the girl. Immediately, the wounds on the girl's body began to heal slowly, and her scarred skin became white and smooth again. Now that things have come to this, Shen Wudao has no intention of escaping anything. If he escapes, would he still be a man? Shen Wudao couldn't help but think of Ningfan's words in "The devil is in my hand." Once you have taken possession of a woman, you must protect her for the rest of your life. With a moan, the girl in his arms woke up. She saw Shen Wudao looking at her lovingly, and her eyes suddenly lit up and she said happily, "That's great, cousin, you're okay." Shen Wudao couldn't help but sigh, what a nice girl. Except that she likes to play pranks. The girl found that she was naked, and suddenly seemed to have discovered something. Her eyes dimmed and she lowered her head. Shen Wudao knew what she was thinking, so he comforted her, "Don't worry, your cousin has ruined your innocence, and he will definitely be responsible for you. Don't think too much, I will come to see you more often when I am free, and I will come to propose to you in a few years." Hearing Shen Wudao's promise, the girl's eyes lit up and she regained her former spirit. She smiled and said, "My cousin is still the best, hee hee. Okay, hurry up and get some clothes to put on." "I know." Suddenly, Liu Ruoshua said to Shen Wudao, "Cousin, why is there a blood-red lotus mark on your forehead?" Shen Wudao touched his forehead and found some burning sensation in the middle of his forehead. He guessed that was the mark of the blood lotus. This blood-colored lotus makes the already elegant and handsome Shen Wudao appear even more charming and exceptionally attractive. Not only that, Shen Wudao, who absorbed and refined the red lotus karma fire, actually reached the peak of the Dongshu stage. This is simply amazingly fast. Cousin, come and see if your cultivation has improved. Hey, cousin, how come I have reached the peak of the Lingshu stage? What's going on? Liu Ruoshua asked with surprise. Shen Wudao told her that they had absorbed that energy, which surprised Liu Ruoshua. "Let me carry you out," Shen Wudao said to Liu Ruoshua. This space was originally set up to protect the red lotus karma fire. The red lotus karma fire was absorbed by Shen Wudao, and this space also lost its function. "No, cousin, I can walk by myself." But she only took 2 steps when she realized something was wrong. It was a tearing pain. Upon seeing this, Shen Wudao carried Liu Ruoshua on his back without saying a word, and said as he walked, "Don't move around for the next few days. Have a good rest. I will come to see you every once in a while." When Liu Ruoshua heard Shen Wudao's caring advice, she was moved. When they parted, Shen Wudao copied a copy of the blood-red lotus on his forehead to Liu Ruoshua. He said to Liu Ruoshua, "With this mark, it means you are my woman. If anyone dares to bully you after seeing this mark, I will kill his entire family." Liu Ruoshua was so moved that she shed tears when she heard this. She had been secretly in love with her cousin since she was a child, because he was so outstanding. Not only was he handsome, but he was also extremely talented, had a noble family background, and was friendly. He almost had all the advantages of a man. When her aunt Liu Qingher told her that she was one of the candidates for her future daughter-in-law, she was so excited that she couldn't sleep for several days and nights. Now that she has received the personal promise from her cousin, she suddenly feels that she is the happiest woman in the world. She touched the blood-red lotus mark on her forehead, smiling foolishly, with tears in the corners of her eyes. Chapter 23, Aunt Mai Reshapes Her Body, the Third Son of Destiny. Taichu Holy Land, Wanus Residence. Senior, I have obtained the 1,000-year-old lotus root and can help you rebuild your body. Are you serious, Holy Son? Mai Ruolan said excitedly. I dare not deceive you, you see, this is the 1,000-year-old lotus root. Mai Ruolan looked at the 1,000-year-old lotus root in Shen Wudao's hand excitedly. After more than 3,000 years, her wish to reshape her body could finally come true today. Shen Wudao was seen using the 1,000-year-old lotus root as his body and limbs, supplemented by a variety of elixirs and magical pills as media, and using the red lotus fire to continuously shape the image of the 1,000-year-old lotus root. Finally, the 1,000-year-old lotus root gradually turned into a human form and slowly grew flesh and blood. Senior, please let your spirit enter your body at this moment. Upon hearing this, Mai Ruolan immediately turned into white smoke and entered the body of the 1,000-year-old lotus root. The limbs and torso of the 1,000-year-old lotus root gradually took shape into a beautiful woman. A long time passed. Mai Ruolan looked at her body and cried with excitement. After more than 3,000 years, today she finally became an adult again. Thank you, Holy Son. Mai Ruolan will never forget your kindness. You're welcome, Senior. Please put on your clothes first. Shen Wudao awkwardly took out the clothes he had prepared long ago and then walked out. Indeed, the the reborn my Ruolan was not wearing any clothes. Did Brother Wu Dao succeed? Zhao Wan'er asked anxiously. Of course your brother Wu Dao will succeed immediately if he takes action. Come in and take a look. After a long time, Zhao Wan'er came out with an excited look on her face. Brother Wu Dao is so awesome. My master said she is very satisfied with this new body and she asked me to express my gratitude to you. Also, my master told you not to call her senior anymore. You can call her sister Mai. She said that she was only over 200 years old when she failed to break through. And now my master has become as beautiful as before. I am jealous of her. Did your master really say that? Indeed, considering the lifespan of 5,000 years in the spiritual transformation stage, my Ruolan is indeed young. It is possible that she is middle-aged because of the damage to her spirit. But what is the implication of asking me to call her sister Mai? Shen Wudao was puzzled. Brother Wu Dao, how could Wan'er lie to you? The little girl looked at Shen Wudao in front of her angrily. Okay, Brother Wu Dao apologizes to you. How could I doubt Wan'er? When she finally smiled happily, Shen Wudao looked at the girl in front of him tenderly and said, Wan'er, did you see the blood lotus mark on my forehead? I've seen it a long time ago, Brother Wu Dao. I know that if Brother Wu Dao wants to tell me, he will definitely tell me. That's why I didn't ask. Shen Wudao nodded secretly, he liked Zhao Weiner's attitude. So he told Zhao Weiner the origin of the blood lotus and copied the blood lotus onto Zhao Weiner's forehead. Wan'er, remember, from now on, those who have this blood lotus on their foreheads are your sisters. You two must get along well with each other, okay? Got it, Brother Wu Dao, I will pay attention next time. This is my good Wan'er, he said, pinching Wan'er's little face. A fire in the harem. Not happening. If there is a fire, why would you be a villain? Our great son of God will never be a bootlicker. Ding, the third son of destiny appears. Host, please investigate Qin Jun, the grandson of Qin Batian, the Grand Marshal of the Qin dynasty. The reward for completing the investigation is 5,000 villain value. Did the son of destiny appear again? I wonder what kind of person he is this time. When Shen Wudao was thinking, his sound transmission talisman suddenly lit up. This time, it was his grandfather who summoned him. After bidding farewell to Zhao Wan'er, Shen Wudao came to the forbidden area of Taichu Holy Land, the place where his grandfather Shen Qianxing was in seclusion. I wonder why Grandpa wants to call me. Shen Wudao said respectfully. Recently, there have been signs of unrest in the monster forest bordering the great Qin dynasty. Our Taichu Holy Land has always been on good terms with the monster clan, but strangely, they have been attacking the great Qin dynasty frequently recently. I have an old relationship with the Lord of the Monsters in the monster forest. Take my token with you to learn more about the situation. Be careful to behave properly. The strength of the monster clan is comparable to our primordial Holy Land. If you can solve the problem, just go for it. Yes, Grandpa, I will definitely fulfill my mission. There are 4 holy places in the Shenwu continent, namely the southeast, northwest, northeast and southwest holy places. If these 4 holy places form a circle, then the monster forest covers the east side of the circle. That is to say, the monster forest only borders the Taichu Holy Land. The center of the circle is the holy city of the 4 holy lands, which is jointly managed by the 4 holy lands. Every large-scale event will be held in the holy city. Precisely because the monster forest is vast and has many races, it is so powerful, the so-called quantitative change leads to qualitative change. The Great Qin dynasty is one of the dynasties bordering the monster forest. Interesting. This time, the Son of Fortune also comes from the Qin dynasty. Could it be that he is behind this? Zhao Yi, immediately investigate Qin Jun, the grandson of Qin Batian, the Grand Marshal of the Qin dynasty. Just send me a voice transmission. I need to go out for a while. Shen Wudao looked into the distance dimly. Mr. Qin. My prey is here again. Chapter 24 is about Qin Jun and what happened in the monster forest. Xiaojiu was released from the beast taming space, and the little guy immediately pounced on Shen Wudao as soon as he saw him. During this period of time, with Shen Wudao's cost-effective training, it finally reached the middle stage of the second stage. Looking at Xiaojiu, who was about to transform, Shen Wudao felt inexplicably happy. He stroked Xiaojiu's soft fur, feeling even more satisfied. Shen Wudao represented the Taichu Holy Land on this trip, so his means of transportation was the Taichu Flying Tower, which was equipped as standard for him. On the Taichu Flying Tower were hundreds of Shen Wudao's guards and protectors. The lowest of their cultivation was at the early Dongshu stage, and 2 of the protectors had even reached the early Huashan stage. When the monks on the ground saw the dark Taichu Flying Tower, they couldn't help but shout, "Look, this is the Holy Sun's Taichu Flying Tower. I finally see the Taichu Flying Tower again. I wonder where our saint's son is going. Our holy son is a genius. He will be the most dazzling wherever he goes. Sir, Mr. Qin is over 30 years old this year. He has been a bad boy since he was young. He is addicted to eating, drinking, whoring and gambling. But recently, he has suddenly changed his personality and has become very humble. I also heard that he has a master who is very powerful and appears and disappears mysteriously. It can be said that the Qin family is full of loyal and brave people. Now there are only 2 male descendants, Qin Batian and Qin Jun. Qin Jun has always liked the princess of the great Qin dynasty, Qin Ying. However, due to Qin Jun's previous evil deeds, Qin Ying hates him deeply, but Qin Jun still pesters her. He can be said to be an infatuated lover. Oh, and Qin Batian just broke through to the spiritualization stage a few days ago. This made everyone around him feel strange. After all, he had been stuck at the peak of the void god stage for hundreds of years, and suddenly he broke through. There was no sign before. I guess there must have been some kind of adventure. After listening to Zhao Yi's report, Shen Wudao said disdainfully, "Har har, how could a loser suddenly become a different person? I guess his soul has changed. I think he is just a loser who traveled through time and space to rise to prominence. What mysterious and elusive master. I think he just knows some invisibility skills and is just playing tricks." But the adventure that allowed one to break through from the void god stage to the transformation god stage wouldn't be related to the monster forest, right? If so, then the problem can be solved more easily. Ding, you have completed the task of understanding Mr. Qin, and will be rewarded with 5,000 villain points. I hope their host will work hard to earn villain points. Outside the monster forest. Stop the Taichu Flying Tower. I'm going to go down and visit all the monster seniors in person. Shen Wudao stuffed the reluctant Xiaozhou into the beast-taming space. Xiaozhou is a 9-tailed celestial fox, and he doesn't want Xiaozhou to be targeted by a group of burly monsters. And then walked down the ladder on the Taichu Flying Tower step by step. Shen Wudao, the holy son of Taichu Holy Land and grandson of Supreme Elder Shenqianqing, requests to meet Xenia Long, the Lord of Monsters. Shen Wudao took out the token given to him by Shenqianqing and shouted respectfully, with a very humble attitude, "Hello, distinguished guest." A strong voice was heard, and a path appeared in front of Shen Wudao randomly. Shen Wudao stepped onto the path leisurely without any fear. This boy is fearless in the face of danger and exudes confidence from the inside out. He is a talented person. My old friend Shenqianqing has a good grandson. Xenia Long said calmly while looking at Shen Wudao, who was walking slowly in the distance. The surrounding monsters also nodded in agreement. "Junior Shen Wudao, greetings to Xenia Long," Shen Wudao said respectfully as he looked at the middle-aged man in front of him. "Har har, don't be so polite. Your grandfather and I are old acquaintances," Xenia Long said generously. "Xenia Long, you are joking. Xenia Long is highly respected and I dare not disrespect you." "Har har, you are quite interesting. Tell me, what are you doing in my monster forest this time? I don't know why the monster forest wants to invade the great Qin dynasty. The monster forest has always been on good terms with my Taichu Holy Land, and Xenia Long is also an old friend of my grandfather. This matter has always made me suspicious, so my grandfather sent me to find out about it and make peace between the 2 families. Har har, it's because someone from the Qin dynasty stole the 5 holy fruits that we have been waiting for 1,000 years. Xenia Long, the Lord of the Monsters, said angrily. The Millennium Holy Fruit was produced by the only 10,000-year-old holy tree in the monster forest. It took 500 years to bloom and 500 years to bear fruit. Each of its fruits was extremely precious and could increase the chances of a peak level 6 monster beast breaking through to level 7 by 50%. I wonder how you can be sure that it was done by someone from the great Qin dynasty. In fact, Shen Wudao already had the answer in his mind. Qin Batian suddenly broke through to the spiritual transformation stage some time ago, which must have been due to eating the holy fruit. And the person who stole the holy fruit was Qin Jun. In fact, we are not sure either. It's just that we monsters are born with a sense of the holy fruit, and we feel that the holy fruit was indeed taken to the great Qin dynasty, and then suddenly lost contact. Humph, if it is certain, do you think the great Qin dynasty still exists now? Shen Wudao's face was filled with black lines when he heard this. Is this monster's brain not working? If someone deliberately framed the Taichu Holy Land, would you still attack the Taichu Holy Land? However, this matter was indeed done by the people of the great Qin dynasty, so it can be said that it was a blessing in disguise. Shen Wudao thought about it and decided to handle the matter personally. After all, the Son of Destiny is not easy to deal with. Senior, give me 2 months to investigate this matter. If I cannot give you a satisfactory answer, I will personally destroy the Qin dynasty to appease your anger. Har har, you are not shy about what you say, which is exactly what I want. I will agree to your request. Xenia Long said generously. When Shen Wudao heard that Xenia Long agreed to his suggestion without hesitation, he immediately sighed in his heart. Monsters are still easy to talk to. Chapter 25, Meet Qin Ying. Qin Ying surrenders. Son, where are you going? The Great Qin Dynasty. Shen Wudao, who was on the Taichu Flying Tower, fell into deep thought as he came out of the monster forest. There are only 4 holy fruits left. Qin Jun must have a treasure that can isolate his aura. And according to what Xenia Long said, the thief suddenly appeared and looted all the holy fruits. He must have learned some secret method like invisibility. Oh, this is such a headache. Killing Qin Jun is easy. Just start with the women and relatives around him and consume his luck value bit by bit. But the key is how to take those 4 holy fruits away intact. If those monsters knew that there was no holy fruit left after waiting for 1,000 years, wouldn't they go crazy? Don't think that the old man is on good terms with the Lord of Monsters, but once greater interests are involved, any relationship will be of no use. In the end, the Taichu Holy Land will be the one that suffers. Thinking of this, Shen Wudao shook his head helplessly. I got it, Qin Ying, the beauty trap. Shen Wudao suddenly had a flash of inspiration and thought of a brilliant plan. The court of the Qin dynasty. Lord, the monsters keep invading our dynasty, causing a large number of casualties. What should we do? I suggest that we should immediately seek the protection of the Holy Land of Taichu. I suggest evacuating the people first. I suggest. For a while, all the ministers were discussing the matter, and the king of Qin was also undecided. Don't worry about this matter, I will handle it. Everyone was shocked when they heard this, and then they saw a handsome and elegant man with a blood-red lotus mark on his forehead walking into their hall. There were hundreds of guards behind him, and the aura of 2 of them was extremely powerful. He is Shen Wudao. When everyone was wondering who this person was, Qin Long, who was sitting on the dragon chair, was frightened. He quickly ran down the dragon chair, and fell down without noticing when he went down the stairs. However, he did not have time to tidy up his clothes, and hurriedly shouted, Greetings to the Holy Sun, the Holy Sun has come. I am sorry for not welcoming you in person, I hope the Holy Sun will forgive me. Har har, it's okay, Lord Qin is too polite. He sat on the dragon throne in front of everyone, and the officials of the palace just reacted and knelt down to worship Shen Wudao. They had indeed never seen Shen Wudao before, because his rank was too low. You all can go down. You don't have to worry about this matter. Lord Qin Chao can stay here. Shen Wudao said lightly. And everyone went down happily. Since the Son of God would handle the matter personally, they didn't have to worry about anything. Looking at the fearful Qin Chaozhu, Shen Wudao said with interest, I heard that Qin Chaozhu has a daughter named Qin Ying. I am quite interested in her. I wonder if Qin Chaozhu understands what I mean. Qin Long was stunned when he heard this, and then he was overjoyed. The Saint's son is interested in my daughter. If my daughter becomes the Saint's son's concubine, then I can also benefit from it. Son, wait a moment. I will go find my daughter to see you. I have to say, the imagination is very powerful. Shen Wudao has no such idea at all. He is the dignified son of the primordial saint. As long as he makes a move, countless proud girls will offer themselves to him. He just wants to use Qin Ying. Well, if she is pretty, I can still consider her, but she can only be a bed warmer. Son of God, my daughter is here. You guys chat first. I'll go down first. Xiaoyin, be careful to serve the Son of God. Looking at Qin Long with a smirk on his face, Shen Wudao felt that he was pimping for his daughter. Shen Wudao cried out in his heart, alas, people's hearts are no longer the same as they used to be. Looking at the girl in front of him, she was indeed very beautiful, but still not as beautiful as the little witch Liu Ruoxue and the delicate Zhao Wana. But when Shen Wudao's eyes moved downwards, he he was immediately shocked. Oh my god, how can it be so big? Looking at the girl's peak, which was twice as big as that of an ordinary girl, Shen Wudao secretly sighed, she is really top-notch. No wonder Qin Jun is so persistent in pestering her. But won't she get tired from walking like this? What is it that the Holy Sun wants to call me for? Qin Ying said with a coquettish look on her face. To be honest, Shen Wudao didn't like such a big weapon. He felt that Liu Ruoshue's was very suitable for him. The he was thinking in the wrong way. However, in order to successfully implement the honey trap, Shen Wudao had no choice but to bite the bullet and said, Miss Qin, please don't misunderstand me. I came to see you for something serious. I wonder if you know about the recent monster invasion. Qin Ying was stunned for a moment, and her charm disappeared immediately. She said with a serious face, What do you mean, Holy Sun? Of course I know, my father is still racking his brains over this, and he has no appetite for tea or food. Since you already know, I'll get straight to the point. The monster forest has lost 5,000-year-old holy fruits. These holy fruits are very important to the monster forest, and the person who stole them is in the Great Qin dynasty. Shen Wudao added, I had been to the monster forest before I came to the Great Qin dynasty. Their attitude was that if the holy fruit could not be found within 2 months, the Great Qin dynasty would have no need to exist. I can tell you clearly that the one who stole the holy fruit was the grandson of Qin Batian, the Grand Marshal of the Great Qin dynasty Qin Jun. Har, I don't know what secret technique that kid picked up from somewhere, and learned the art of invisibility. Although he was only in the fasting stage, he miraculously stole the holy fruit. Qin Ying was shocked when he heard this. Why is it that dandy boy? He deserves to die. He actually harmed our Great Qin dynasty for his own selfish reasons. Holy Sun, I'm afraid you are looking for me for this matter, right? You are so smart. I heard that Qin Jun has always been in love with you. I think you can use the beauty trick to trick the holy fruit into your hands. Shen Wudao said with a smile. Qin Ying's face changed. She hated Qin Jun very much because Qin Jun was not only big and strong, but also often harassed her. But she thought for a long time before asking anxiously, Son, what if I don't want to? Har, you won't be unwilling, because your home is in the Qin dynasty and your parents are here. Besides, even if you really don't want to, this Holy Sun still has at least 100 ways to make you willing. Shen Wudao said with a serious look. After hesitating for a long time, Qin Ying finally agreed. I don't have to make you lose your virginity. Why are you so sad? You can create more stories of heroes saving beauties and accidentally reveal the plight of the Qin dynasty. He will definitely surrender. By the way, there are only 4 holy fruits left. Your task is to get these 4 holy fruits. Shen Wudao said lightly. Qin Ying heaved a sigh of relief when she heard this. Fortunately, she didn't have to sacrifice herself. Then she said viciously, Mr. Qin, I want you to die miserably. Ding, Qin Ying surrenders, plundering 20 points of Qin Jun's luck. I hope their host will keep up the good work. Son, how was the talk? Looking at the mean Qin Long, Shen Wudao smiled and said, It was a good talk. I'm very satisfied. Qin Long was overjoyed. Chapter 26, First meeting Mr. Qin while the plan is in progress. Shen Wudao lived in the luxury house, specially arranged by Qin Long. He played with Xiaojiu whenever he had nothing to do these days. Seeing Xiaojiu steadily moving towards the late stage of the second stage, he was also relieved. Thinking of Xiaojiu's charming appearance after reaching the 4th stage of transformation, Shen Wudao was excited. Xiaojiu seemed to sense what Shen Wudao was thinking, so it raised its snow-white furry tail and swayed it gently in front of Shen Wudao, and occasionally hit Shen Wudao's face, which made Shen Wudao speechless. Just when Shen Wudao wanted to slap Xiaojiu's little buttocks hard, there was a sudden movement from the note transmission sound. Son of God, Lord Qin has gone out, I have acted according to the plan. The sound transmission sound carried Qin Ying's voice with neither sadness nor joy. I got it. You have to perform well and don't let me down. Shen Wudao put down the sound transmission talisman in his hand and looked into the distance with a dim gaze. The good show is finally about to begin, Mr. Qin. You should like the heroic rescue of the beauty that I arranged for you. Shen Wudao revealed an ambiguous smile and said to himself with sarcasm. Princess, why do you insist on going to the monster forest today? It's so dangerous there. The personal maid Cure said to her master in confusion. We're going to meet someone. Who are you meeting? Don't ask questions that you shouldn't ask. Got it, princess. Qiu and Qin Ying grew up together. Although they were master and servant, they were as close as sisters. That was why Qin Ying answered Qiu's question. If it were someone else, she would have killed them for committing a crime. As for who she wanted to meet, it was of course Qin Jun. Today, Qin Jun went to the monster forest to hunt a 4th-level monster, the exploding tiger. Its blood can nourish the body and strengthen it. The purpose of his trip was for his grandfather. Although he traveled through time, his body was related to his grandfather by blood. Seeing his grandfather who had broken through to the spiritual transformation stage but was still weak, he felt very uncomfortable. Although the effect of the exploding tiger's blood would not be too great, it at least represented his thoughts. Help! Help! The sudden cry for help caught Qin Jun's attention. Qin Jun found the voice very familiar. Suddenly he thought of the owner of the voice. Princess. When Qin Jun thought that his sweetheart was in danger, his face suddenly changed. He quietly sneaked near the princess and found that the one attacking the princess was actually an early 6th order monster, the 5-colored magic snake. Seeing that the highest guard of Qin Ying was in the middle stage of the void stage, he knew that he had to find a way to rescue the princess. He couldn't watch his beloved woman die in front of him. He used the invisibility technique and quietly came to the side of the princess. Seeing that the tail of the 5-colored demon snake was about to sweep the princess, Qin Jun immediately rushed forward, hugged Qin Ying horizontally and ran away. Finally, we are safe. Qin Jun looked at Qin Ying, who was still in shock, and said happily, Princess, we are safe. Qin Ying did not answer, but her body could not stop shaking. How could the princess appear in the monster forest? Qin Jun asked again. What awaited him was still silence, because Qin Ying was still shaking with fear. He knew that Qin Ying was really scared this time, so he didn't ask any more questions, and said, Princess, I'll take you back. This time Qin Ying finally responded and nodded slightly. Princess, the palace is ahead. I will send you there. After Qin Jun said this, he turned around and was about to leave. He was just like Comrade Lei Feng, who did good deeds without leaving his name. Wait, Mr. Qin, thank you for this time. I will go to the marshal's mansion to thank you in person someday. Qin Ying finally came to her senses and thanked him from the bottom of her heart. After that, she bowed and walked towards the palace with lotus steps. What no one knew was that a sneer appeared at the corner of her mouth. Har har, this girl is finally moved by me a little. I must work harder to win her over, and then, he. Qin Jun's inner thoughts made him smile wickedly. Shen Wudao, who was watching the show in a corner of the palace, exclaimed that it was wonderful. One is evil at heart, but pretends to be a gentleman on the surface. The other pretends to be rescued, but actually harbors evil intentions. Both of them tried their best to hide themselves, and it was so addictive to watch. They are really talented actors. But why does Mr. Qin look like this, so big and strong? Is it because his life is too good? Well, it should be, but it's more likely to be hereditary. Shen Wudao said to himself. As for the 5-colored demon snake, it was of course specially hired by our great son of God to take part in the performance. Chapter 27, Happy Qin Jun begins to show his fangs. The days that followed became very boring. Of course this was true for our great son of God. And our son of luck, Qin Jun, has been in high spirits recently. The main reason is that since he saved Qin Ying last time, Qin Ying's impression of him has changed greatly, and Qin Ying also comes to visit Qin Jun from time to time, which makes Qin Jun very proud. Holy son, what should I do next? Qin Ying asked respectfully as he stood beside Shen Wudao. The next step is to make Qin Jun fully trust you, and then make him feel guilty about you. When that time comes, you can mention the matter of the Millennium Holy Fruit again, and he will not refuse. But you will be injured. Are you still willing to do this? Shen Wudao looked straight at Qin Ying. For the great Qin dynasty, I would rather give my life. Holy son, so I am willing to do it. Qin Ying answered firmly. Okay, I believe you. The next plan is this. Looking at Qin Ying walking out, Shen Wudao said with a smile on his face, you have experienced the hero saving the beauty, it's time for you to experience the beauty saving the hero. Princess, thank you for accompanying me on this spring outing. As a time traveler, Qin Jun knew all the ways to seduce girls in his previous life, and a spring outing was undoubtedly one of the best ways to improve the relationship between the two. Of course, he also prepared something else to ensure that the princess would be moved to death. When the time comes, you will just throw yourself into my arms, won't you? Qin Jun thought obscenely in his heart, with an evil smile on his face again. However, combined with his burly figure, it looked weird no matter how you looked at it. Princess, look at the peach blossoms in front of you, they are so beautiful. Look at the small bridge, flowing water and people living in front of you, they are so beautiful and quiet. Qin Jun has been looking for an opportunity to chat. Qin Ying just nodded symbolically. But she was devastated. As the saying goes, 1,000 cups of wine are not enough when you are with a good friend, but a half word is too much when you are with a bad friend. Qin Ying was now with someone she hated so much that she really wanted to just walk away. But when she thought of what Shen Wudao said, she suggested to herself, everything is for the mission, everything is for the mission. Just bear with it, just bear with it. Qin Ying endured the whole morning. But Qin Jun was still in high spirits, which made Qin Ying shout in his heart, God, please save me. Seeing that the time was almost up, Qin Jun thought it was time to show Qin Ying the surprise. So he smiled and said to Qin Ying, Princess, can you close your eyes? I have prepared a surprise for you. Qin Ying pretended to be surprised and said, really? Then she closed her eyes shyly. But in her heart she sneered, har har, I hope it doesn't turn out to be a shock. When Qin Jun saw Qin Ying's attitude, he was very happy. It seems that I will be able to capture her soon. Qin Jun thought evilly. Princess, it's okay. Qin Jun said softly. Wow, did you prepare all this? I like it so much. Looking at the heart made of colorful flowers, Qin Ying was indeed moved at that moment, but it was only for a moment. Looking at Qin Ying, whose eyes were full of little stars, Qin Jun's heart was filled with satisfaction and pride. Just as he was about to answer, Qin Ying suddenly appeared in front of him and shouted, be careful. The assassin who suddenly appeared saw that his attack on Qin Jun failed, so he fled without hesitation. Qin Jun looked at Qin Ying, who fell in his arms, and suddenly felt mixed emotions. The assassin's sharp blade was originally aimed at Qin Jun's heart, but was blocked by Qin Ying's body. Quick, quick, there's an assassin, protect the princess. In order to facilitate their date, Qin Ying was considerate and specially transferred the guards away, and this move was particularly approved by Qin Jun at the time. However, this also gave the assassin an opportunity to attack. The bloody dagger was stuck in Qin Ying's chest. Looking at their big weapon that he usually desired so much, Qin Jun had no interest at all. Now he just wanted to check Qin Ying's injuries. Fortunately, Qin Jun checked Qin Ying's pulse and found that she was just a little weak, and there was no major problem. He guessed that fortunately Qin Ying's murder weapon was big enough, so the dagger failed to hit the vital point. After knowing that the girl was safe, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at Qin Ying, who had fainted in his arms, Qin Jun was very moved, and for the first time he restrained his evil smile. After sending Qin Ying back to the palace, Qin Jun did not stay to take care of her, but wondered about the origin of the assassin. However, the evil deeds done by his predecessor were simply too numerous to mention, and many people wanted to kill him. This made Qin Jun confused for a while. At this time, in the palace, Xiao Wu, you were very measured in your attack. Although the wound appears to be serious, it is actually just some superficial injuries. Take this bottle of finger removing and skin regenerating powder. It would be ugly if a scar was left there. Shen Wudao said as he threw a small bottle to Qin Ying. How could Qin Ying be so weak now? She bowed to Shen Wudao and said, thank you for the reward, holy son. After this incident, I guess Qin Jun has great trust in me. Next, I should cheat him of the holy fruit. Well, that's right. As long as you get the holy fruit, the next step will be Qin Jun's death. Oh, this is a locator. You need to find a chance to shoot it into Qin Jun's body. After all, he knows how to become invisible. If he escapes, it will be a waste of time. By the way, let your father find a reason to transfer Qin Batian away. After all, we have to deal with Qin Jun, and he is also a trouble. Shen Wudao arranged the plan calmly. Shen Wudao has no intention of letting Qin Batian go. After all, he has just reached the peak of the Dongshu stage. Although Qin Batian has broken through to the Huishan stage, according to Shen Wudao's investigation, Qin Batian's condition has not been very good in recent years due to the recurrence of old injuries. Shen Wudao, who has the Red Lotus Karma Fire, is confident that he can defeat him. Of course, the most important thing is that Qin Batian is very good to Qin Jun. This is a good opportunity to plunder Qin Jun's luck. Chapter 28, Qin Jun falls into a trap, plan against Qin Batian. Your Majesty, a relic recently appeared in the territory of my great Qin dynasty. According to speculation, it should be the tomb of a great master in the spiritualization stage. However, because the situation is quite complicated, I dare not investigate further. There is such a thing. If it is the remains of a great master in the spiritualization stage, the strength of our great Qin dynasty can be raised to a higher level. Qin Long's eyes lit up when he heard the news. You know, there are only 2 cultivators in the spiritualization stage in the entire great Qin dynasty, including Qin Batian, who just broke through. I hope to send a powerful monk to explore the ruins. I recommend the Grand Marshal of the Army, Marshal Qin Batian, to go for the exploration. After all, Marshal Qin has just broken through to the spiritualization stage and is the strongest. There shouldn't be any accidents if he goes for the exploration. I think it must be Marshal Qin. I second the motion. Qin Long looked at Qin Batian with hope and said, "What do you think, my dear Qin?" "I am willing to go for your Majesty." The speaker was a white-haired old man who was nearly 2 meters tall but had a strong physique. Although he was strong, a careful observation of his breath revealed that his breath was not stable, which was obviously a sign of a hidden disease. Okay, with Minister Qin helping me share my worries, there is no need to worry about the prosperity of my great Qin dynasty. Qin Long laughed happily. A few days later. "Princess, I'm here to see you. Are you feeling better recently?" Qin Jun asked with concern. "Much better, but..." Qin Ying hesitated to speak, looking worried. Seeing Qin Ying so sad, Qin Jun suddenly felt uncomfortable. After all, he liked Qin Ying, and Qin Ying almost died to save his life, which made Qin Jun feel very guilty. "Princess, what are you worried about?" Qin Jun asked with concern. "Alas, even if I tell you, you may not be able to help me much. Did you know that the holy son of Taichu came to my great Qin dynasty a few days ago?" "Of course I know that. It is said that the holy son came here to solve the monster invasion. Could it be that the princess's worry is related to the holy son? The holy son of Taichu said that the holy fruit was lost in the monster forest. He limited our great Qin dynasty to find the lost holy fruit within 2 months, otherwise our great Qin dynasty will perish." Qin Ying showed a desperate expression on his face. This Taichu holy son is really going too far. How can he be sure that the holy fruit is in the great Qin dynasty? Besides, even if it is really in the great Qin dynasty, how can he find it in just 2 months? This is simply outrageous. Qin Jun said angrily. "Alas, this may be my fate. I really don't want the Qin dynasty to perish like this, but what can I do? No one can help me." After saying this, his eyes were filled with tears and his face looked pitiful. When Qin Jun saw that the holy son of Taichu had tortured the woman he loved like this, he was immediately furious. He looked at the pitiful Qin Ying in front of him and said firmly, "Princess, do you believe me? If you believe me, give me the task of finding the holy fruit. I will definitely bring it back to you within 2 months." "Really? You are so good, Mr. Qin." Qin Ying threw herself on Mr. Qin with an excited look on her face, while Mr. Qin was also excited. Finally, the princess finally accepts me." While Qin Jun was still in his fantasy, Qin Ying put the locator on Qin Jun with a sneer on his face. Looking at Qin Jun walking away, Shen Wudao said calmly, "I find that your acting skills are becoming more and more exquisite." "Thank you for the compliment, holy son." Qin Ying replied with a smile. "After this matter is resolved, you can follow me. Start as a maid. If you do well, you can be promoted." Shen Wudao looked at Qin Ying and said with a smile. It's not that Shen Wudao has a crush on Qin Ying, but Shen Wudao has discovered that Qin Ying has the natural potential to be a villain, which is very similar to him. Qin Ying's eyes lit up when he heard this. "Son, are you serious? You know, if anyone climbs up to the high branch of the Son of the Beginning, he will really rise to prominence. Even the maids around the Son of the Beginning are hundreds of times more powerful than the princesses of the Great Dynasty." As for the transition from a maid to a concubine, Qin Ying was very confident because she believed that with her means, this would be an easy thing to do. As if sensing what Qin Ying was thinking, Shen Wudao said with a slight smile, "A gentleman's word is as good as his bond. As for the rest, it depends on your ability." "Holy son, I will definitely work hard." Qin Ying nodded firmly. Shen Wudao walked out of the hall and said to his followers, "Qin Batian went to investigate that place." The ruins that suddenly appeared were, of course, the work of our great Son of God. The purpose was to lure Qin Batian into the trap. Of course, it was also the burial place specially chosen by God Wudao for Qin Batian. Your Majesty, Qin Batian has already gone to the ruins. The follower said respectfully. Mr. Huang, Mr. Mo, let me fight Qin Batian this time. I haven't fought for a long time since I became the Holy Sun 3 years ago. But Holy Sun, although Qin Batian has a hidden illness, he is actually in the spirit transformation stage. Even though Holy Sun is a rare genius that only appears once in 1,000 years, I'm afraid you cannot deal with Qin Batian as you have only been practicing for a short time. Old Mo and Old Huang persuaded Shen Wudao earnestly. Don't worry, elders. I just want to test my own strength. After all, I can't grow up if I live under your protection. Besides, you two are here to help me. If I can't win, I can still run away. I have made up my mind, elders, please don't persuade me anymore. As the protectors of Shen Wudao, Mr. Mo and Mr. Huang, who were in the early stage of the spirit transformation period, did not want Shen Wudao to take risks. However, after hearing what Shen Wudao said, they felt that it made sense. After all, flowers that grow up in a greenhouse cannot truly become talented. Let's both pay more attention when the time comes. Mr. Mo said helplessly to Mr. Huang. Alas, this is the only way. Mr. Huang could only agree. Hearing the two elders' agreement, Shen Wudao's eyes became serious, and a blood-red lotus rose in his hand. Chapter 29, The True Strength of Shen Wudao, The Death of Qin Batian. A desolate suburb. Marshal, are there any ruins here? Why have we been searching for so many days and there is no sign of any ruins? Qin Batian's personal soldiers kept complaining. They had been searching here for 5 days, and they only found piles of stones. Apart from that, even some birds and animals were hard to see. Don't worry, everyone. Usually when a relic is unearthed, there will be some strange phenomena. We just need to observe carefully. Qin Batian comforted everyone. In fact, he was not sure in his heart, because after observing for a few days, he found that this place did not look like a place with ruins, but he had promised His Majesty, so he had to bite the bullet and continue looking. Don't look for it. There are no relics here at all. Who is playing tricks? Come out if you dare. The sudden sound in the sky completely enraged Qin Batian's personal guards. They immediately shouted, as if they wanted to vent their anger of the past few days. What caught them off guard was that a large group of people suddenly appeared in the sky. The lowest of their cultivation levels was at the early stage of their void stage. The leading man had a handsome appearance, and the blood lotus symbol on his forehead added a touch of mystery and nobility to him. He waved his hand, and the people behind him immediately scattered, surrounding Qin Batian and others. Qin Batian saw this and asked in confusion, what does Saint Sun mean by this? A few days ago, he had the honor of meeting Shen Wudao in the court. At that time, he found that this Holy Sun was worthy of his reputation. He had reached the peak of the void stage at a young age. If he had not died prematurely, he would have definitely become a hegemon in the future. This time I came here to borrow something from Marshal Qin. I wonder if the old marshal would be willing to give it up. Shen Wudao said lightly. Son, you are too polite. As long as I have something, let alone a thing, even my life, I will give it to you without hesitation. Har har, old Marshal Qin is a smart man. I want to take his head today. I wonder if he is serious about what he said just now. Shen Wudao said jokingly. Qin Batian was shocked when he heard this. Holy Sun, what do you mean? I have never had anything to do with you, how can you take my life for no reason? Qin Batian was anxious, he wanted to escape, but there were 2 auras in the air that were stronger than his that locked him, and he had nowhere to escape. Har har, Marshal Qin is so forgetful. How can you say that we have nothing to do with each other? Marshal Qin broke through to the spiritual transformation stage after eating the holy fruit a few days ago. I'm sure you won't forget it, right? To tell you the truth, the holy fruit you ate was the 1,000-year-old holy fruit lost in the monster forest. That's why the monster forest invaded the great Qin dynasty, and that's why I came here. Do you think we have any connection? Shen Wudao paused, then continued, so, in order to give an explanation to the monster forest, you must die. Qin Batian was shocked when he heard these words. I have accidentally caused such a disaster. But when he thought that it was his grandson who gave him the holy fruit, he felt sad again. You know, when the nest is overturned, no egg can remain intact. No need to say more, Holy Sun, take action. Since ancient times, there have only been generals who died on the battlefield, and there have been no marshals who surrendered before fighting. Qin Batian said proudly. Shen Wudao also admired Qin Batian's integrity very much. He was a real man. Please give me some advice, senior. Shen Wudao said admiringly. There were not many fancy moves between the two, only a life and death fight. Shen Wudao, who had practiced the high-level earth-level body-building technique Varger indestructible body, took advantage of the level of his technique and fought Qin Batian to a draw. Qin Batian became more and more frightened as the fight went on. How is this possible? He is only at the peak of the void stage. And I am a true spiritualization stage powerhouse. How can he possibly fight me to a draw? Old Marshal Qin, is this all the strength you have? Next, I will show my true strength. After saying that, Shen Wudao's whole body was filled with blood-red flames, and the surrounding sky was also dyed blood-red due to the full force of the red lotus karma fire. Looking at the big palm print filled with blood-red flames slowly falling in the sky, Qin Batian suddenly felt a pressure, and suddenly his soul trembled, which made Qin Batian suddenly panic. It was because the red lotus fire had a unique damaging effect on the soul. This moment of distraction caused the big palm print in the sky to fall down with a bang. Boom! With a loud noise, the ground shook. Qin Batian was slammed into the mud, dying, his whole body stained with blood. The red lotus fire continued to burn his body and soul, making him miserable. Seeing Qin Batian in so much pain, Shen Wudao kindly killed him directly. He also didn't want this noble marshal to die so tragically. Ding, the host successfully killed Qin Batian, plundered Qin Jun's luck value of 20 points, and the villain value is 5,000. The host only needs 10 points of luck to kill Qin Jun. I hope the host will keep up the good work. Son, what about Qin Batian's personal guards? Kill them all, leaving no one behind.